Hello, hello, beautiful people. How are you? I hope everybody's okay. I have here Manuela. Tina is going to join us pretty soon, in about 5 minutes. She's just getting herself ready. Tina from the Aftermath. Hello, Manuela. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm excellent. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just wonderful. I'm loving your products. By the way, guys, I am going to leave a link. I'm not wearing any makeup, only lipstick. Because my lupus is flaring up. I don't know if you can see the redness in my face. Um, so I'm gonna leave a link so you can get a discount on. Well, you already get discounts, but if you can use my link to get a discount on all of Manuela's products. But we want to talk today a lot about certain things that happened in Netflix, because at the end of the day, Netflix is responsible for
Yeah,
whatever they put out there, especially if they're partnering with Meghan Markle, right?
that's very
Because
true.
I believe that she said that they were partners.
Partners. But it's more than that. It's even if you're not partner, you don't even have to be a partner. This is a platform that is making profit off of claims that are being made, right? So basically, there you're watching the show. So Netflix could technically be responsible. Also, Megan should be. I mean, the show is responsible, the person as the brand, but also the platform is responsible because they are profiting from it, and you are a subscriber to the platform, and therefore they have a responsibility. They have a duty of care. There should be a disclaimer. There should be cushions around that, warnings around that, to keep people safe. Because who's going to guide or edit the consumption of this information and be able to tell you that if this recipe is good or bad or safe or not, or if it's done properly? It's their responsibility to do that, not the viewer's responsibility to do that.
Okay, before we get into why are we talking to Manuela? Manuela, can you give your credentials as to why you can actually talk about this? Like a
Yep,
proper. Because people are going to
absolutely.
wonder, how can you give that? How can you give that? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. Her channel is right here, and
Yeah.
actually, you are an expert chemist. You
Yeah.
can you give your credentials so people can see that?
Yes, I'm a cosmetic chemist. I'm a chemist. I studied at the University of Toronto. I have 30 plus years of formulation experience. I've been making skincare since 19, well, I started in 1988 formulating skincare, and I've been doing research ever since. So for over 30 years, I've been making and understanding formulation and the chemistry of the skin, ages and stages, and skincare. We've made our own brand. We've made private label brands. We've made product formulations for brands all around the world. So as a formulator, and I own my own manufacturing, and I formulate skincare. I have sold over, I don't know, 25, 30 million bottles of skincare worldwide, and I have formulated it with my name and number on the back. And we formulate in a very safe, efficacious way. We follow good manufacturing practices. We're FDA approved. We are an FDA site. We're a Health Canada site. We are located in Toronto, Canada. And my husband and I own it. We're both scientists. So this is where my experience comes from. I'm not an influencer. I'm not an esthetician, or I'm not a doctor. I am an actual formulator. I make those products, and I understand the chemistry of those products.
Mm, okay. And you actually, guys, we have this thing. It's really funny because you actually have a show that's called Confessions of, what's it called?
Oh, mine is Confessions of a Cosmetic Chemist. Yeah, I started that last year. So on my
This is the
journey,
one right here.
yeah, I started Confessions of a Cosmetic Chemist. My girls wanted me to do that because they said, "Mom, you have built a company out of nothing. I mean, it was literally an idea and a blender. You went to solve your own problems with your skin, and now you're helping the whole world." And we didn't have money growing up. We were very modest immigrant family, and I've been able to take care of my siblings, their children. I've bought real estate. I've sent my children to school. I have built a business. I have a lot of I'm very been very very fortunate because I built it, as they say, from zero to hero. And so they thought, can you tell us all the different things that happened to you as a woman entrepreneur? So this is where we started Confessions of a Cosmetic Chemist. So we can talk about health, mental health. We can talk about the hard decisions that you have to make. The when you don't have money, what are the sacrifices you make when you build a business? You know, what you do in the moment, and then what you regret 10 years later that you didn't do differently. Like, we explore all of those things.
Yeah. So this idea of Megan Confessions of a of
Co-founder.
yeah, it's unbelievable because she hasn't been able to found anything. She hasn't been able to do anything. She hasn't been able to successfully register a trademark. And this is a woman who has gotten so many opportunities. Can you imagine you and I have be given the platform, the money, of everything? But and you and I were talking about this, that what really surprises me is that Netflix, such a giant, who have people would go get on board with Rachel Meghan Markle without making sure that she has the bases covered up, like the most basic one, which is a registered trademark,
Yeah, I
and
think
that
there's a
they're
lot of,
working with
yeah,
them.
the registered trademark, her as a business, her as an entity. I think there's a lot of, because I'm in TV shopping as well, right? So I've been on TV, and I understand with TV, not only do you have the FDA, you have the FTC in the United States. And so you have to be very careful of what you say and how you say it. And it's also not even just the claim that you're making, it's what people understand. You want people to walk away with the right information. So this is why there's a lot of regulatory around what you say on TV. It's like a privilege to be syndicated, basically. So the fact that she's on Netflix, the fact that she's being syndicated, the fact that they don't actually there's a level of indemnification that has to happen. Somebody has to be responsible for what's being said, and then somebody has to do the due diligence and the duty of care even before you broadcast it, or even when you're editing it. There's always, like, even in something simple like TV shopping, Paula, people will listen to what you just said about the copper peptide or collagen, and if they'll flag it or not flag it. You have to get permission to say certain sentences. It's very, you have to be very careful. And the fact that they were so reckless is very interesting. It's almost
We're gonna,
like
yeah,
nobody
I
watching or
just want
nobody taking it seriously.
I just want to, we're going to talk, we're talking, guys, because the reason why I wanted to have Manuela, well, first, because I love having her on. I'm using her skin products. You guys have been, telling me about the skin products, and I'm not getting paid. She sent
No,
me the skin products
not.
to test it and try, and I am absolutely hooked, especially in the eye Botox thing. I am absolutely hooked on that. I know
I'm
you say
glad.
that I should only apply it twice a day, but I do it 3 times, hoping that the wrinkles will go away faster. But I know that's not how it works. But we're gonna talk about the bath salts that she was preparing for Daniel, so whom she clearly doesn't like, because there is. This is why we're going on about how Netflix, for example. I know for a fact because I know somebody who had a show in Netflix, and they made this person jump through hoops to verify the information, and
Yeah,
because they didn't want to be liable for lawsuit or whatever. I mean, this is something that is a little bit off there, but I know that a lot of people saw Baby Reindeer. You know that thing that YouTube that
yeah,
that
I saw
that
that.
the
Yeah,
woman turned out to, and now it's turned out that a lot of things were false, and there's a lawsuit. I haven't heard anything, which means that they settled. um, but I mean, that was a big scandal. But when it comes down to food, because this person was working with food, um, and they made sure they were so, hola Claudia Salas, they made sure that everything was done properly, and that even her kitchen, where because she filmed it in the kitchen, that it had to meet certain standards. And I am
right.
shocked that Meghan Markle, first of all, guys, she's walking around barefoot. If food falls on the floor, you step on the food, and you can slip and fall. That's number one. It's unhygienic to begin with.
Yeah.
That she's preparing food barefoot. I mean, you know that you have to have shoes. What if a tomato falls down on the floor and you slip on it, or a banana peel or whatever?
What if a
It
knife
was
falls? What if a knife falls out of your hand?
No,
You know,
no, I don't use Elizabeth Art. You know what? I haven't. No, I know that Harry uses it on his Todger, but I don't use it on my face. I've never used Elizabeth Arden products. No, no, no. Um, um, Thank you so very much, all of you, for being here.
yes, thank
And it's very thankful. Please go subscribe to Manuela. We're gonna be starting a show, and we're working on something. Hopefully, that'll come to fruition. But for now, can you tell us um, w- when Meghan Markle said that she prepares her bath salts
yeah.
for this guy? I think I have the picture of her here. Let me see if I have it, so I can put it here, guys. Because when she's saying we can't show the clip because Netflix is really copywriting everybody like crazy. So I'm not gonna give them that. But when they said that she's preparing those bath salts for what's his name? What's her what you might call it? Her esthetician or
The makeup artist,
the makeup artist there. When she's
the
saying she's
left-handed
preparing,
artist.
yeah, the one, yeah, that one exactly. When she's saying she's preparing that for him, um, and I just thought, even I am not a chemist. I thought that's not good. I fell down and I scraped my knee like there's no tomorrow. And I immediately ran to the ocean because I know that water and the iodine, it helps and stuff like that, right? But for a bath, when I'm just trying to pull up the picture because I think we can get away with the picture, guys. But for a bath that she's recommending, how she doesn't give the amount, she doesn't give anything, and pretty much any of the recipes or anything like that she does or says, which is incredible because this is something that goes on your body that she's asking this guy to submerge himself in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And your skin is actually, it could be quite sensitive. You can have an allergic reaction.
Yep.
I mean, can you explain that to me, please?
Yeah.
Why it was so reckless of Netflix and why they could be sued?
Because the formulation, so what they're putting together there is a very active formula, and people don't realize how powerful these individual ingredients are. And just because you have them at home and just because they're natural doesn't mean they're safe and doesn't mean that you can go overboard. So the first problem with her formula is that it's dangerous because there's no proper dilution of the essential oil. So she's creating a formula with essential oils. Essential oils are very, very powerful and they need to be diluted. You can never use them straight. They always have a carrier oil in them. And the carrier allows the particles to break down of the essential oil so that it could be absorbed and it could be less toxic or less strong, if you will, for the body. Putting it directly on or in the formula the way she has it, there's two things that are missing. One's the essential oil, the other is the emulsifier. But what will happen, Paula, is these oils will sit on the surface of the water. They won't actually blend. So when you go in with your body and your skin, those little oil droplets will attach to you directly, and those can cause a burn. They can cause a burn, they can cause an irritation, they can break the skin barrier. The ingredients themselves, choosing some of them like the arnica.
Mm.
Arnica is especially toxic. It's toxic if it's absorbed into sensitive skin. Arnica should
Yeah,
never be
really?
used.
Arnica? But what is arnica used for? I'm sorry, my ignorance, but what is
Arnica,
arnica used
arnica is
for?
a plant. Arnica is a plant. It's a flower, and arnica is used very much for healing and bruising. So if you have a bruise, people who have surgeries, they can rub a little bit of arnica on it, and they always say it's very good for healing. So arnica is used sparingly. It cannot be used in a body soak. It becomes toxic. So this is something that it causes redness and irritation. You can get allergic dermatitis with arnica. So although it's very friendly in a small dose, it's not good for you in a large dose. And if it's actually absorbed systemically in your body, say you have broken skin or sensitive skin, it can be toxic.
And also people forget that when you take a bath, you usually sit there for a while.
Yes. and you
You know, when you
absorb
take a bath, you usually sit there for a while and you're just, so that means that what guys, our skin is a sponge, which means that this man, if he used those salt waters, he was sitting there for at least a good 20 minutes, and those bath salts. And the problem we have with this is that there are some people who follow this idiot.
yeah.
And they won't question. They will see, oh, she poured this much there. They're gonna go ahead and do it because she posted people on her Instagram account recreating some of her food things and that are not even hers. They're Martha Stewart, like I posted on my channel on my ex about 4 days ago. Like 2 3 days ago, I found that Martha Stewart originally did that one pot pasta over 10 years ago, and she updated it about a month ago. So it's people follow and the instructions,
Mhm.
and she's posting about this, as though it is an invention of her own. So it is quite dangerous. First of all, when you're in the kitchen and you're doing anything, any chef, anybody in the world will tell you that you need to have shoes on. What if you drop a knife? What if you drop a knife and she's, oh, let's
Yeah.
get our shoes off. And the hair is all over the food, which is
Yeah.
completely hygienic. But to me, I'm shocked that nobody has pointed out about the shoes, the
Yeah.
barefoot, because I don't know if you guys know this. I have this company, agricultural company, and I had to have in order to export it to the United States and worldwide, I had to have it certified by the United States Food and Agricultural Department. And when you are around food or kitchen, because the fruit was being processed in certain times, you're not allowed to be without shoes for safety reasons. Because what if you drop a knife and it falls on your foot? I know if it's a sharp enough knife, but at least the shoe will serve as a barrier. If food falls on the floor, then it's dirty. It's there. It's Hello, Tina. Uh,
Hello, sorry I'm late.
Hi.
Okay, that's okay. We're just talking because Manuela, she's explaining to us why the bath salts. And I'm also explaining why it was such a terrible thing that Netflix allowed Meghan Markle to be cooking without shoes in the kitchen because that's not hygienic. What if, and also it's not safe. What if a knife falls on her, and, or you step on food that falls on the ground, you slip and fall. At least a shoe will provide protection and it's hygienic. It's
Hmm.
unsanitary. Yeah, thank you, Anne Marie. I'm struggling with my words this morning. I'm stupid. By the way, I just have to pick a beef here with Tina.
Why?
With Tina, you went on a live yesterday. You never gone lives with me on TikTok.
We
You
can
guys
do it
never.
live on TikTok.
No, but you girls always get together and you never invite me. I
Oh,
was
okay.
I'm
Next time
feeling
we'll invite
neglected.
you.
I left so many comments hinting, invite me, invite me, invite me.
Heather's been going through a lot lately. So yeah, that was why we sort of done that live, and we haven't been on a live in ages. To be fair, it's
You
really
guys went on
hard
for
to
a long
sort of navigate.
time.
Yeah, it's
You
been a
guys went
while.
you
So,
you guys
but
went on
we.
for a long time, though. I was shocked. I went out, I came back, but you guys were still on, which is great.
I
You
know.
had so many people viewing it. But that's what we're talking about, Tina, because we're talking about how insane it is that Netflix it's because Manuela, I just finished explaining. I'm sorry. I have this ADHD, whatever it's called, that I go into tangent. So you guys are your job, Tina, is to keep me back on topic. Manuela doesn't know me yet, but you know how I am. So keep me on topic, Tina. It's your job for today.
Oh
So
my God.
continue.
Okay.
Manuela, so continue. So Manuela was explaining why arnica is dangerous to put in the body.
Yeah, we're talking about the bath salt formulation. We're talking about that there was no proper dilution of the essential oils. And that's
Yeah.
very bad because you need to dilute the essential oils with a carrier oil to make them more skin friendly or make them more or
Wow.
less toxic because they're very powerful. So arnica, for example, it is safe to use as a spot treatment, but it's not safe as a bath soak. It's actually considered toxic as a bath soak. So this is
Okay.
something that you should never recommend it as a bath soak because if you've got broken skin or sensitive skin, you can absorb it. It's going to cause redness, irritation, contact dermatitis. It has to be only in controlled concentrations. Arnica is one of those essential oils you need to really be very, very careful with. right? And then you
Yeah.
have the next one that she used, which was lavender. And lavender isn't always soothing. If lavender does not have a carrier oil with it, lavender oxidizes very quickly. So it changes its form and it becomes very, very toxic and it
Wow.
becomes irritating. So this is why when you use lavender for your babies, for example, they use some lavender oil, but there's a carrier oil, there's an emulsifier. All of this is tempered, right? So then you can wash the skin, you get the smell of the lavender, you get the soothing elements. If you just take lavender and put it directly into bath salts and then transfer those into a bathtub, you're missing two key elements that would save your skin.
Yeah. Yeah. So in
Oh,
theory
wow.
then, Manuela, so you as an expert, how did you feel watching that sort of? Were you like, oh my God, no?
But it's like, first of all, it would be illegal. You could never sell that formula. That product, she could not now put that in a package and put a label on it and sell it. It would not pass any of the safety tests. It would not pass toxicity. It would not be shelf stable. It would not be formulated properly. It would not pass the repeat insult test. There'd be a lot of tests that would actually fail. Never mind the sanitary or how it was formulated. Just its composition alone would not be legal to sell that in Canada, US, or the EU. I already looked.
It's mind-boggling though, isn't it? Because in theory, the minute her show went up, there could have been someone the next day going, I'm going to make myself some bath salts. I've got all these bits around the house.
Yes.
They could have done that, plunged themselves into a bath and come out with a massive rash, irritant, red, itchy skin, had a reaction to it. And that's all on Netflix, isn't it?
Right. And it would have happened. It could happen very, very quickly, because what would happen is, say you made this, and I will break down the formula a little bit more, but say you put those salts. So you had the Epsom salt, the Himalayan salt, you had the lavender, you had the arnica, you put this amount, say you even put a cup of it or whatever she gave you, you dumped it into your bath. You would sit there for approximately 2-3 minutes before you would jump out. You would be burning. You would already start to feel it. There's so many things happening in that formula. The essential oils are too hot, because they're not diluted and they're not, and there's no carrier. The salts themselves, with the Himalayan and the Epsom salt, that is a perfect combination to break your skin barrier. You're actually weakening your skin. So you're going to make your skin drier and more sensitive by taking that bath that way.
And
You just think,
go for it.
Sorry. You think with a company as big as Netflix that they would have people checking this stuff, making sure before it goes to air? You can't even wrap your mind around this. And you just feel like, are people just past it with Meghan, where they're just letting it? But then even with a power player like Netflix to allow this, you just can't even.
It's almost like she's irresponsible and reckless. They're being irresponsible and reckless too. It's almost like the blind leading the blind here.
Yeah.
It's very amateurish. This is not something that, because people have, there is a level of, like, as a consumer, you have a certain expectation of what you're buying or what it is safe or tested or true, or the information that you are, digesting is good. It's been vetted. There is some guidance around it. Here in this case, there isn't. It's almost like, let her say whatever. Maybe they're thinking no one's watching. I don't know, because maybe they think that the people watching are smart enough to know not to do this. But they don't even have a disclaimer. They don't even say, this is just her suggestion, or please do not do this at home, or we take no responsibility if you do this. Like, they don't even protect themselves with any, disclaimer.
And also with Meghan Markle, when you say, people may not be watching, they know that people are waiting for her to fall. Like, whether people like that or not, it's the reality. There's a lot of people waiting for it to fail and to pick it apart. So it's even extra at risk of being picked out and noticed. So you just think, what is going on? But the one thing we've seen with Meghan Markle, there's a lot of enablers around her. Surrounding that title, there's a lot of people that enable her behavior connected to the royal family, and it's just like, oh my God, make it make sense. You can't.
I know.
And the thing is that I've been looking at Netflix, right, to see if there's any disclaimer. I was just checking this out right now that you were talking about disclaimer, because if you see at the bottom of this thing, I have that there's a disclaimer, like these are all our thoughts and opinions based
Yes.
on information out in the public domain. But please do your own bloody research. There's nothing. I was just looking at it while you guys were talking. There's not even that, and then it's I understand that Netflix will say, you guys say, because it's true, that it's like an amateur with an amateur. And a lot of people are saying that Netflix is just, ah, I'm trying to put it in a way that's kind, guys. Less Latino. Um,
Less Latino. I like
you
it.
know how Tina knows how I get when I get angry. So no, I don't get angry with Tina. No. So but it's this is the reason. This is an insider who gave me this information, is that there's no reasoning with Meghan Markle. She wanted to
Yeah.
do it that way. There were suggestions given to her. There were information that say, you have to wear shoes. You have to at least pull your head back a little bit, wearing in a nice bun or whatever. Um like, wash your hands. I saw somebody there that rightly commented, wash her. She never washes her hands. I remember there's an episode where she puts a spoon in her mouth and then she gives it to another one of the crew. Here, take my spit, basically. I would have thrown up. I would have said, lady, give me another spoon. I'm not about to get your germs. God knows we know where your mouth has been. So it is kind of like I was and then I was told that she doesn't listen, and that because there have been so many bus stops with Netflix, so many screams and arguments, because today she hasn't called them racist, but she has called them sexist, misogynistic, and that the fact that every show that she has put out, or that Netflix has put out with Harry and Meghan, they have always blamed the failure on Netflix or on somebody else. They have never taken
Yeah.
accountability. So
It's a
this is
coat of
why.
arms.
Yeah.
Coat of arms. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why they said this time it's all on you. You have 80 people. I had Zach Peter yesterday. By the way, go subscribe to Zach, guys. He's
Oh, he's
amazing.
brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have to subscribe to Zach. Oh, guys, and and this is something very important that I want us to watch a little bit. I'm gonna set it up. A clip from George the Giant Slayer. We all
Love
know and
George.
love George. We love our George.
Amazing.
I mean,
Amazing. I love George.
he did something. This is called the death of the woke monologues. But guys, it took him, I think, 3 years to do it. But if you want to know why Rachel Meghan happened, you have to listen to it. And I'm going to show you a little clip. I mean, he breaks it down, and it's a monologue, just him, a microphone, something that is unbelievable. That this is something that Meghan Markle couldn't do, and this is so powerful. And if George had a platform like this skank, like this person, Meghan Markle, I'm not going to say skank because you're here, Manuela, and I know you are very polite. The Canadian has gone out on me when I'm in Nicaragua. So, if I were in Canada, I would be polite. But so George has done this. Can you imagine George having a platform like Rachel Meghan Markle? I don't know if you know a little bit about George, but he was kidnapped by his father when he was 5 years of age and taken to Greece. He wrote a book which is a bestseller, and the father would tie him down in the basement and would beat him up because he would say to him, "Tell me that you don't love your mother anymore." He was like 5 or 6 years old, right? And he would be defiantly saying, "No, I love my mom." While he was tied in the basement, being beaten up because the father would beat him up every time he said, "I love my mom." I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry because every time I think about it, it makes me emotional.
Hmm.
Yes, shit. Here we go. So, but he did the thing of the woke monologues, but this is why Megan, he talks about Megan there. This is why about Megan happened. People like Meghan Markle happened. This is why people like Meghan Markle, guys, are get a huge platform like Netflix, and she still manages to screw it up. So I am going, oh, thank you, honesty and truth. Um, so you know what? Honesty and truth says, what have we learned? Don't listen to the words of the pair of fools. Don't donate to their charities. Don't buy any of the produce products. Don't watch their stupid podcast. The pair are disingenuous. The honesty and truth. Thank you for the super chat. But the thing is that if we are not, the reason why I talk about them is because I call them out. Because
Hmm.
if you don't talk about it, if you're silent, you're compliant and in agreement with this. It reminds me when I think I was talking to you about it yesterday, Manuela, that how I regret it. Because Manuela, guys, knows some very interesting people in suits. I'm not going to say anything more. And I was saying to Manuela, you have to get this woman. We will guarantee her safety. That won't show her face or anything like that. But I mean, I said that the problem that you have with abusive people like Meghan Markle is that they count on people's silence and fear. And this is why their behavior continues and escalates.
Hmm.
So hopefully Manuela will make this happen. So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
so that's why we call it out, guys. That's why we call it out. So can you keep telling us more? Because and also I wonder if she uses that bath formula on her kids.
no, that would be very dangerous. That would be very, very dangerous if she used it on their children, because it would be too harsh. It'd be too strong. There are other things in the formula that are wrong with the bath salts themselves because they're not measured. You can't just put a big, huge dollop of this and a dollop of that. Skincare is chemistry. I'm a cosmetic chemist. I'm a scientist. I formulate. It's like being a chef, but you have to understand that each ingredient is much more powerful than the spices or the ingredients that you have in your kitchen, right? You don't have to, in your kitchen, just worry about changing the taste. Maybe it doesn't taste so
Yeah.
good, right? Too much salt or something. But on your skin, you could burn it. You can destroy the acid mantle. You can destroy the collagen. You can create scars. You can excite pigmentation. You can inflame the skin and cause, redness or irritation or break down the barriers, dehydrating it. And a lot of times it's repairable and sometimes it's not. So when you're putting this together, like, you have to really think about it. People are just thinking, well, it's just a bath salt. But if you put too much of that bath salt in, it's all about the dilution and the emulsifier. So when you put an essential oil, like the 2 essential oils she had, the arnica, which is toxic, the lavender, which is dangerous because it can oxidize. It will change its structure without a carrier. So a carrier would be like if she added, for every 2 to 3 drops of essential oil, you would have to put 1 teaspoon of jojoba oil, for example, in the formula. So that would be a good dilution. That would allow now to change the molecular size of the essential oil, to change its surface tension, so that it couldn't cause so much discomfort. And then now taking the essential oil and marrying it with a salt, you need a thing called an emulsifier. So you know how when you make a salad dressing, you have your oil and vinegar and they separate.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
take mustard and you put mustard in your oil and vinegar dressing and shake it up, now it
Brings it
doesn't
together.
separate anymore, right? Because the mustard acts like an emulsifier. It joins the two
Like glue,
worlds.
like a glue, like a glue. It glues it together.
Emulsifies it, yeah, so marries it together, so they can become one. So now you have a world where oil and water live together as separate, as a chain of molecules, like grapes, right? As
Yeah,
opposed to just being 2 separate entities like the northern and southern hemisphere. You now have these little teeny pearls, right? And
yeah.
now this becomes microscopic, and this on your skin now becomes okay, but she's missing all these steps. So it's just taking the harsh salt with its pH, destroying the acid mantle, really, really making it basic in the water, and then the essential oils that are very, very hot. And you can really burn your skin with it. So I do think it's something that people should know not to do this, because this is not something to take lightly. They
But
think
how
because
would
it's
they know?
natural.
How would they know? How would they know? Because people are going to see it on Netflix.
Yeah.
And they're gonna and they're gonna see this is a woman. She's using a royal title, and this also will affect the royal family, whether you like it or not. Because this is a stupid woman who's saying, first of all, and guys, no, no, and it's not my job to be repeating to you that is Sussex is not a last name. You should be calling out those YouTubers who are saying that Meghan Markle can use Sussex as a last name. I have shown you evidence.
You
I have shown
can't,
you proof that is not the family's last name.
right?
Mountbatten Windsor.
Because if she wants to say, I give up our titles and our family's last name is going to be Sussex, that's great. But she cannot unilaterally determine that the family last name of title members of the royal family is Sussex, because that's what she's doing for Archie, for Lily, and for Prince Harry. Okay? She's
Mhm.
choosing a family last name for title members of the royal family that only the monarch can do. She can call her a skank ass anything. Sorry, Manuela, forget you're here. She can call herself anything she wants, but not Sussex. Okay, that's not a family name of her family. Okay, so she's. I just want to say this because, guys, I keep getting so many messages from you about this. I mean, and I'm showing you evidence. So instead of coming to my channel and saying so and so, so this, put the links that I have left and say, listen, the king, the monarch, has said and ratified in letters patent that the family name of title members of the royal family is Mountbatten Windsor. That's what you should be doing.
The thing is, though, I feel like so many people have emotionally disconnected from Meghan Markle, even as her being a Duchess of Sussex. So the whole Meghan Sussex, especially after everything she's done and everything she's said about this family, like people would have a little bit of respect if she just ditched the titles and really carried on a solo. You know, she damages herself. In the fact she comes out in Meghan Sussex with so many layers, which royalty you can't do anyway, because this isn't your surname. But then she's gone through life getting everything she wants. She gets it instantly. And the royal family gave her instant fame. The royal family gave her these titles to cash in on. Meghan's never used to being told no, in my opinion. So even now with Netflix allowing this stuff to go out there, it boggles your mind. And she's just being enabled because of the title, which does link back to the royal family. And it will damage the royal family at some point if she carries on being enabled. But the consumer watching on, and you sit down and watch a program, okay, it's Meghan Markle. Some people will go and do those bath salts because they will feel safe in the knowledge that Netflix has allowed this to go out there. So you would feel safe that it's been checked over, that this is okay to do because it's Netflix. And it's like so many people would have gone. So thank God for people like Manuela for bringing us the real information of the dangers that it causes, when you'd hope to think Netflix would be bringing that.
Manuela, you said something when I asked you about the children. Manuela, I just want to ask you something. You said something when I asked you if she uses this on the children. You said that this would be very dangerous. But clearly, this woman doesn't know that that is dangerous because she's comfortable putting it out on Netflix on a worldwide platform. And Maureen Ingleston has a very good question. Aren't some oils dangerous to pregnant women, especially this combination? Thank you, Maureen, for the question.
Yes, absolutely. They're dangerous to pregnant women. They're also dangerous to, so there's two things. I mean, they're going to be dangerous to you pregnant or not, but also when you're pregnant, there's things that absorb. And the reason why even essential oils, a lot of time during pregnancy are people are told not to use them is because essential oils in and of themselves are very powerful. They absorb very easily. They're a fat. And fat will absorb easily into our system, and then it loads into the fat parts of our system. So our liver, for example. So this is why the caution of concentration, dilution, emulsion is very important, because we're putting a lot of separation between the activity of the oil, where it needs to land versus where it will land if it's not guided, if it's not protected properly. So if you're pregnant, absolutely, I'd be very careful. I mean, we're careful about alcohol, we're careful about caffeine. And, you know, when you think about it, these essential oils are even more toxic and much more powerful, you know?
Yeah. And we go through so many skin changes whilst pregnant as well, don't you? We go through so many changes within our body, with our skin hormones and stuff like that. So it's powerful. And I think people disconnect from the fact that bath salts in a bath, you just dipping your body into it. But I think if you go for your ibuprofen gels and how you can use them and they can ease pain because it absorbs into your skin, it really gets in. And it's easy to go like a bath salt. People would look at that as not being damaging, but this is your skin, you know, it absorbs into your body. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because what happens with the bath salts too, they're going to strip the acid mantle and the skin barrier. They're going to change the pH of the water. It's going to change the pH of the skin. And it needs a balancing agent, or else it's literally going to dehydrate you. So it not just makes your skin dry, it makes your skin super thirsty. So it really will dehydrate, pull out, as you said, it's pulling all that out of your skin. So and this is also why when you're using an Epsom salt bath, or you're using, and even just the ratio of adding the Himalaya, I mean, There's everything wrong with that formula. But just the amount in a bathtub, you have to know, is it 1 cup? Is it quarter cup? How big's your bathtub? How much are you putting in too? Because you could get away with it if you put 1 teaspoon of it in, for example. But if you're giving somebody a cup dose, or you're saying this is this little jar and this is for you, this is for 1 bath, and people are using a cup or 2 when they're doing this, this is going to be very, very harsh on the skin. And and it changes the pH too much. And if for a child, this would be catastrophic. I think, you know, especially for a child's skin, a baby's skin with pH, this would be catastrophic. I mean, you'd be in the hospital. And I think this is what's going to have to happen. I think because no one says no to her, and because she has literally no duty of care or responsibility, it's going to be someone, a class action suit, or somebody hurting themselves following this and saying, well, there we go. I got it from she said so. You know, I watched it here.
And there's no disclaimer.
Then they will fall into, but even with the disclaimer, there has to be a reasonable, I mean, when we deal with lawyers and we deal with cosmetic claims or skincare claims, there has to be a reasonable assumption of safety, and there has to be a reasonable ability to express to the consumer what's going on, right? And what they can expect, and that you are not going to be giving them something that's potentially harmful. And if you do, they have to be very vetted. You can't just disseminate harmful information publicly just like that. I mean, you don't even know who you're talking to. You don't know what their capacity, you don't know how people are taking it. People could go straight and put it on their baby right now. What's going to happen? It's going to be a tragedy.
And is it that instruction and that guidance with this product to go along with it, isn't it, as well? Like you said, rather than putting in the 2 cups, there's nothing like that, Meghan. She just goes, oh, I'm making bath salts. There you go. There's no actual protection or guidance around it. And everyone's different in how they process watching that. And everyone will always have that safety backing that it's Netflix. And there's no way, if there was a law, I'm guessing, I'm not an expert, but the Netflix will be able to bash that away either, because they have overseen and allowed this to go out there.
Exactly. I know what the point I wanted to make. I know now. I've forgotten what the point I wanted to make. The thing is that they wanted the fact that they didn't say anything to her is because they wanted all to be on her. But I was, you know, this is why they didn't interfere. They did give her the advice, but she still didn't follow it. But what Netflix forgets is that at the end of the day, she did do a video, and they have admitted, a little clip on Instagram, that they have partnered with her in this. So by them being partners, it would be in their best interest to have told her, I don't care whether or not you want this in. We have to, for our sake. Because you see, when they sue them, it's going to be Netflix, because Netflix is the one distributing this. And in fact, I'm going to go try that bath lotion on, that bath oil. And if it burns me, I'm serious. I'm going to document the whole thing, and I'm going to sit in a bath, and I'm going to see what happens. And if something happens to me, you can bet your ass I am going to sue Netflix, because it's Netflix, not Meghan, who's responsible for this.
Well, they both are. I mean, Netflix, absolutely, because it's their platform. And in essence, they're making money off of this information. They're making money off of you watching. And so because they're making money off of it, they're going to be responsible. And nobody will say, well, you didn't put it, you know, we didn't know. They're going to say, well, that's not good enough. I know that the law will say that's not good enough. You should know.
But Netflix, because they're this, for example, when I put something on my platform, and I'm just, you know, a little platform, I always make sure I put the disclaimer, or I say to people, do your own thing. Or when I bring new people on, even you on your products, you have disclaimers on your products, you know, in spite of the fact that you know, like you this and that, you have disclaimers in your products, you know, like, for example, Meghan Markle at no point in any of her shows said, just make sure you're not allergic to this. The only time was with the peanut butter thing, that you would think she would know her best friend is allergic to peanut butter, right?
But that, let's be honest with you, that was only to show off her writing. I'm sorry, I can't get over a lady in her 40s just so happy with herself over her writing. It just speaks to the sheer narcissism in the fact she celebrates her writing so much. It just to me, that's a level with Meghan. You're just like, oh my God. And that was just an opportunity to show off her cursive writing, wasn't it? That label, the peanuts, and you know your mate's not. I
just want to say something quick. Cynthia, is that Cynthia on the chat?
Cynthia?
Is that just chin wagging?
Yes, Cynthia.
Cynthia, I sent you the
Okay.
link to join us. If that is, I sent it to you by WhatsApp. So join us if you can. But this is the thing, though. I'm just, I am just wondering. I mean, I was thinking about it because for people like me, I have lupus. Let's say I were a fan of Meghan Markle, and I said,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put it on there." And it's like because she made it sound like this is perfect, this is done, and this is she made it sound like it's a soothing bath lotion and stuff like that. Um, oh, this is another Justin wagon. Okay. Um, so it's and can you imagine if I gonna but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try her recipe, guys, and I'm gonna film myself. Well, I'm gonna not film myself, but
Well,
I'm
there's
gonna
a few
do it.
things. We were looking at some of the regulatory because I know, for example, when we make our skincare and our skincare goes worldwide, right? So at isomers, because we're not only are we the manufacturer, we're also, I mean, we're the inventor, we're the manufacturer, we're the packager, and we're also the brand ambassador. We also talk about it, right? So, and in this case with Meghan, what would happen is who would get sued if someone got burnt, right? I asked this question yet last night. Meghan as the influencer promoting it, Netflix as the production company if they profited, and any brand that sponsors or supports the content, which means anybody else in that segment that's a brand could also be linked
Really?
without the
But didn't she
disclaimer.
didn't
Yeah.
promote any brand there, did she?
But it could be other, well, maybe those peanuts, maybe those other things that are there. Anybody else in that segment could also
Oh
be linked
wow.
as you take
Even
the
if it
thing as
was
a
just the
whole.
bath? Even if it was just the bath?
Yeah. It, because people, when they get burnt, now becomes a liability because even you as another brand, you should know what you're walking into. Even the other brands should have a duty of care. Like you don't want to
So,
be in a toxic environment.
so the owner of the lavender she used, so say, in that segment, whoever distributing created that specific brand, they could be in trouble also because
They
their
could also,
contribution.
if they're
Yeah,
sponsoring, yeah, if they
yeah.
actually sponsored her or partnered with her or are
If it's like product
representative of
placement,
content.
yeah. If it was product placement, yeah.
But
But
I'm
I
sure
mean, has anybody come out and said, "Oh, like, we're sponsoring this," or have they come out and said has any brand come out and said on those bath salts things, "We don't sponsor this. We have not been contacted," or anything like that? Can anybody please tell me in the comments if any of those people have come out and said that?
I don't know if they have.
Because
because you
you
see how Luke
usually
has.
have a list of products that they agreed to showcase, right? That's not what they would do before they show it, right?
Hmm.
Well, there's always, when they do even product placement or they're putting product in with other brands. Or, I mean, I've been in boxes, when they do these subscription boxes or they'll do a gift bag at a certain promo. You need to know what else is in the bag. You need to know who else is also part of that because it all goes under that insurance or that identity or that brand or that message, right?
Hmm.
So you want to be careful about that.
Yeah. Wow.
Mhm. Yeah, that's
Something to
that's
think about.
actually not good.
Yeah.
But it's just
Definitely.
it's just remarkable that they just allow her to have so much, as they say, runway. They really let her allow her to have a very large platform without really having any kind of
It,
substantiation or expertise.
and that's the thing. We've listened to Meghan Markle speak about the internet largely, obviously, because she's had a negative response in how people need to be responsible for their platforms. And all I've seen Harry and Meghan do is create an onslaught of divide with their platform in what the divisive characters they are, an onslaught of poor mental health because people are in tune with this emotionally. They're characters. William and Harry were characters as we watched them grow up. There is a lot of sadness. So they're irresponsible. They've got their followers who will go and attack. So that they are completely irresponsible, in my opinion, with their whole platform and what they've chosen to do with that platform.
Yeah, they are. I always think that when you are in a public eye, when you are an influencer, something like a royal family, I mean, seriously, I don't think there's a bigger platform.
No.
There is a level of responsibility. You need to be an example, a positive example, because if you're a negative, I mean, you will influence other people. People look up to, we do, our children do, other people. And not everybody is, discerning. Not a lot of people maybe have critical thinking. So you are very responsible in making sure you give a positive message or the right message or the truth, right? And not actually give people things that they can hurt themselves with, even innocently.
And that's it. Even sorry, carry on.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, even with my small platform, which is minute compared to someone like Meghan Markle, I feel responsible. The people that follow me, a lot of them have gone through a lot in life, and I have to be mindful about how far I go. And I'm forever saying I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert. I feel responsible. I don't want to come out here, and I will never speak. I only ever speak truth on what I feel in watching Harry and Meghan. I will never go in for the attack. But also, I do that also to protect my followers, to see me under attack by other people. Then they feel the need to fight. I'm constantly mindful with my minute platform, and the fact that they've got this on the world stage, I feel like it's so dangerous that they're just allowed to carry on in this way.
Yeah, I agree.
No, and on this, I just want to show a little bit of a clip of George the Giant Slayer, because this is why Rachel Meghan Markle happens, guys. And I think we have to listen to them. I'm going to mute myself when we're showing this, because this is why people like her happen. This is why she keeps getting a platform, and you all have to go watch that because it's unbelievable. Let me just show it to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, woke is dead, and I'm here to read the autopsy report. Dearly beloved, we're gathered here today to celebrate the long overdue, well-deserved, and frankly hilarious death of wokeness. It fought a good fight, by which I mean, of course, that it screamed, grifted, shamed, canceled, Karen, conned, lied, looted, hustled, deconstructed, depantsed, desexed, rioted, pillaged, burned, and bullied its way to power. But in the end, it was no match for reality. This is the wake for the story of woke. And just like that, the curtains came down, the lights came on, and everyone suddenly realized they had been watching the dumbest shit show in human history. But I remember when the madness began. Started with a whisper, then a slogan, then a hashtag, then an HR meeting, a corporate policy, a federal mandate. Then suddenly I was standing in front of a bathroom sign that read, "Pick your adventure." That's when we were told that men could have periods, that women could have beards, that drag queens were the new priests, that libraries were their new temples, that Shakespeare, the Bible, and Tolkien were out, that religion was retrograde, and suburban parents had to ask their babies' consent in order to give them a hug. But schools could help transition them without any permission from anyone. That was the way of modern progressive education. Students only served the agenda. Teachers only twerked on OnlyFans. Discipline was out. Dunce caps were in. Winning wasn't taught because losing hurt too much. So all losers were winners, even if it meant every child lost the war on life. And suddenly, absentee Adderall moms were identified as perfect. Fathers of the Year were tagged as domestic terrorists. Homes were designated as death camps.
Wow.
No, I mean, it's powerful, but it's amazing because he wraps up and gives so many examples. And when he leads to, I mean, at the very beginning, what you heard is like, we're watching a shit show. We're forced to watch shit shows with people who get credibility. And the way he leads it up to Harry and Meghan is absolutely unbelievable, guys. You have to watch it, because
I will go and watch that. I love George.
Promote it, because this is what we're watching right now with what he's saying. We're watching shit shows when they're being put out as the truth. Like, you are a chemist. And people, let me tell you something. People will take Meghan Markle. That's how deluded they are. They will take a recipe over somebody who is qualified to say, you're going to hurt yourself if you try this at home.
Right. I know that because I know people will ask me all the time, what are your credentials? But do you ask Meghan what her credentials are? And the fact is, if I wanted to sell that, I wouldn't be able to. If I said those things or showed that recipe, I would be responsible. I would be sued. And yet they aren't. They're able to say it and do it, and there's no ramification. So it is a two-tier system. It's definitely, some people are allowed. I always say, is it Animal Farm? Some pigs are more equal than others. And this is what's happening. They're just, It just doesn't make sense, because there should be one set of standards, especially when it comes to the public safety. And you shouldn't take it lightly, regardless of who you are. And if you are somebody with a large platform, you know this. This is not new. You know, this is, people are around you to manage this. This is not something, they just didn't pop out of the sky yesterday and start all of this social media or interviews or information. So she has people around. There are people around. And I don't know why people aren't nervous about what's going on or stopping what's going on. There must be a bigger something that we don't understand, because it's too risky.
Well,
But this is the thing. You go watch. Sorry. If you go watch what George says, it'll explain to you why.
Last night I did it with my dog walk. I had him in my ears, and I was really impressed with it. One, it was nice and long, so I did my whole dog walk. The other is, it's very up to date. He talks about Canada. He talks about Trudeau. He talks about what's going on. Like, he's taken it through the history, and it's like, you're spot on, man. Bullseye, target, excellent.
Yeah, you know, and he gets, usually with his videos, he gets 300,000 views. This one, 28,000 views. What? And because people, and guys, if you watch it, then you'll understand why the three of us here are talking about Meghan Markle and why Meghan Markle is allowed to have that platform. Then it's like a moment that you go like, we're watching, why are we watching this? Why are we watching this woman with no talent, with no skills, and especially with no knowledge nor credentials, give advice on anything?
You know, I think about what you're saying, Paula, so much, because I think even my colleagues will say to me, why do you care about this topic so much? And I think it's because I believe in evolution. I care about people. I believe that we all have a role as mentors. And I do believe that the next generation should be better than us. And the one after them, be better than that. We should be doing better, not less. And when I see the standards are lowered and people are allowed to hurt other people with their platform, it just, as a mother, I don't know, as a person, it just bothers me inside. Like, it really triggers me. I feel it, you know, and I just think we should be doing better. I try very hard to be an example. So my children, my father used to say, we're like steps. He's at one level, and then I should be the next step. And then my children should be the step after me, right? It's old, you know, Italian way of thinking, and I'm sure, you know, old school. But I believe that for all people, all humanity. So I believe our platforms should be elevating and empowering people. You know, that's what we want. We want a healing, we want empowering, we want a betterment. We want to pull out the best out of people and pull out their strengths, you know, and allow them to have the right advice to make better decisions.
And the thing is with Harry and Meghan, I think there is a lot of people that want them to do better. You know, since the minute they came out, there is a connection to Harry with the people, an extension of Diana in the royal family. People have wanted them to do better. I want them to come out. They could have been so powerful with their platform. They could have done so much good in the whole racism. If Meghan would have really harnessed that, even though we know there's a lot of questions we don't necessarily believe that the royal family, but if this is something she felt, if she'd have gone into schools and worked with Netflix to speak to young children growing up who are biracial, that would have been so powerful. If we watched Harry go and work with bereaved children who lost their parents in a car, that would have been wow. You know, they could have done so much better, and all we've watch them do, and we're watching her dish out pretzels and bring out bath salts, which are toxic to all, whilst their whole brand is toxic. Actually, if I draw an analogy about the chemicals she's using to make these bath salts, in how the separation, and they need someone to bring it together, that's Harry and Meghan. Their brand is separated from the people. And I feel like in COVID, prior to COVID, I feel like people would have lapped this up. We used to watch Cribs and What's in Your Fridge. People used to pine after celebrity. COVID changed the game completely, and social media grew. Then people were watching people in their own homes just like theirs, and it felt comfortable. It was normal. It was, you know, it didn't make them feel crap about themselves. And we had Ellen DeGeneres moaning about she was bored in a mansion. That changed the world of celebrity for me, COVID. And after COVID, Harry and Meghan, wrong timing. They sat on a sofa and was like, oh, we just lived in a cottage adjacent to Kensington Palace. Well, after we've just gone through a pandemic where single moms are in high-rise flats having to go out for a walk in the park. So it just fell flat. And again, with this show and what she's doing with £800 worth of fruit. People can't afford that, Meghan. You're so far removed from reality, and it's not aspirational at all anymore. People are done with that. She's stuck in a time warp.
Yeah, it is. It is. And like, for example, on May, I don't know if you know, guys, this, but on March 14th, this idiot, it was 5 years since he left the royal family. I'm going to show you this, guys. I'm going to show you this. This is the little video clip that he posted when I don't know if you guys remember this, the Freedom Flight.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a man who was escaping a life of privilege, his family love. Just watch this.
It's 6 a.m. on the 14th of March, and we are on the Freedom Flight. We are leaving Canada, and we are headed to Los Angeles. Grandma's here. Hey, Grandma. Brutus here, with her ball in the mouth.
Actually, say hi. You got to go where mommy's from.
So busy with the current situation, thanks to another amazing friend who we've never met, but who believes in us and wants to help.
Paula?
I mean, a friend that they've never met, it's helping them.
This happened just
Yeah.
before they shut down the country, right? When they shut down the
Yeah.
borders,
Yeah.
people couldn't go out. And this is the time where people who had their loved ones in senior home could no longer visit them. You couldn't see your mother, you couldn't see your father, you couldn't see your children. And
Yeah.
they get to go on a private jet, they get to go to another country, they get to do whatever they want, and they get the privilege of sitting on a couch working 1 hour a week, saying whatever they want. And the reality is, and I also thought it was very funny, and I use funny because the Canadian with, it's interesting. When they were giving out meals in Hollywood, and not to diss it in anything, but they're cherry picking selective pockets to then turn around and complain and say that they're a victim or they have less than. When the reality is, like a Michelle Obama, they have so much more. They say you should only take your fair share. These guys are grabbing everything and leaving nothing behind. I mean, it's just unbelievable, and they're being so reckless with everybody. And I think we need more, more people talking about this and looking at it and saying this is not right, and stop being polite and stop being woke and stop being all of these things and just be real.
But that's
No,
what
but
that's what they relied on, though, wasn't it? And sorry.
Go for it. No, sorry.
That's what they relied on. They relied on, especially now we're having such a political change. Obviously, if we echo in George the Giant Slayer's monologue in how real people are drawn to that now. They're sick of applauding something like that. You see that clip of Harry, for instance, and I follow a young girl on social media, and she must be about 15. This girl's been in and out of care homes all her life, and she does a get ready with me and she speaks about the process of being in this. People are born into institutions all the time,
right?
And an institution of being a drug addicted family or abuse, or they grow up in the care system, they end up in and out of prison, and they haven't got the luxury of a private jet or the financial backing. And money isn't everything, but it bloody helps people, to watch that Harry on that jet plane. And for me, freedom walk, I've got it, leaving a domestic abuse and going to a refuge, a freedom walk, which we went on, was horrendous, So when people are living real life and they look at Harry on his jet plane saying freedom flight, are you joking me? And the people disconnect from that because they're looking on social, they're seeing real pain, real heartache, real suffering. And this just don't compute at all. It's not, you can't carry empathy for him.
No.
And the worst thing is, for people, for me, what I find the most disgusting thing, I'm showing you guys George the Giant Slayer. You have to go watch this because, trust me, you will understand what's going on, why Meghan Markle is there, why Harry is allowed to get away with so much, why we're watching these things. You know that Chrissy Teigen now has a podcast? Chrissy Teigen has a podcast, and she claims that that's where you're supposed
Yeah.
to feel safe with her podcast. I kid you not. You know, and now we have Bethany Frankel, who I really
Yeah.
liked, saying that we're bullying Meghan Markle and Blake Lively. And what and I don't know if Bethany Frankel is going to be in Meghan Markle's podcast, because it could be because she suddenly changed her tune to
Oh,
Meghan
she's had a
Markle.
talking to. I'm sure someone's pulled her aside and whispered something in her ear. She's had a little bit of an about face.
Yeah, no, a little bit, a lot. Because you see, for me, my problem, and this is what George the Giant Slayer says, and this amazing, amazing thing is that I dislike Blake Lively. People forget. Don't feel sorry for Blake Lively. Don't feel sorry for Meghan Markle because they have never apologized. They have blamed. They keep assigning blame. And what is worse is that they weaponized serious social issues
Mhm.
against people in
Mhm.
order to destroy them. In this instance, Meghan
Yeah.
used racism. And then Blake Lively used DV or,
Yeah.
against people who are helpless. And I know that the royal family, you think, oh, it's not helpless, but in the way their hands are tied, because if they speak out against Meghan Markle and say she's a liar, then they're speaking out against Harry, who is one of their own. So in that sense, it's like that,
Hmm.
so it's you have to
Yeah.
you have to understand where things are coming from, and then you know what I mean? Is like she's being helped. People like Meghan Markle are being helped by these massive platforms,
Yeah.
and they're giving credibility by the royal title. And
Yes.
and you have people who that I do a
Hmm.
channel in Spanish. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on a little bit. But yes, Catherine, George did a stand up. It's amazing. Please go watch it. Um, I will leave the link in the video description at the end, but I've been showing the link here as well. We have to support each other, and that message is powerful. I don't, guys. My channel is not for me to grow myself. It's for me to help others expand the message, and I to call out things that I think that are wrong, and I hope that I have questions about. So George the Giant Slayer, I know he's much bigger than me. I am very well aware of that. I'm very well aware that he's very well known. But we have and I'm very proud that I consider him a friend, and he's a lovely man. And not only that, this is a great, great, powerful. I mean, I was blown away, and then so many things made sense now as to why these people are so protected, why Meghan Markle is still around, and I heard, and when I'm talking about how she weaponizes serious social issues against people. For example, we have Jessica Mulroney, who I have not been a fan of, but and we know that she had that Sasha thing. Remember that Sasha thing, that thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was
In
wondering,
Toronto, yes.
yes, I was wondering if that exchange had been between two white women, if the race thing would have been an issue at all. If that exchange had been between two white women, let's say there was another white woman at the end, and Jessica Mulroney is just saying, you know what? Because when you get heated and things, you get angry, you get into exchanges. I can guarantee you, you're not thinking of race. You're just angry and you just want to lash out. But of course, at the time when those things happen, there was a huge movement that anything could be weaponized as racist.
Yeah, it was
You
very
know,
hot back then. It was
all
very
that
hot.
Meghan Markle, for those people who are still fans of Meghan Markle, because one of the things that I value the most in my life, because I have a lot of lack of it from friends and family, is loyalty, right? And for me, loyalty includes friendship and stuff like that, right? I hate when people use me. I hate that. I hate that. So Meghan Markle, I mean, Jessica Mulroney was her, I don't know, bridesmaid, if you want to call her. Her children were flower kids or whatever.
Yeah, she was
And
her BFF.
all she had to do when everything erupted between Sasha and Jessica Mulroney was, you know what? Anybody can slip up, but she's my friend. She's not a racist person. She's been my friend for years. Like I would never have a racist person be part of my life. That's all she had to do. Issue one sentence, show support, especially because at that time Meghan Markle was popular. And that would have been the end of it.
Hmm.
But, and this is when it shows you
But then
what
we're
kind of
talking about
person
Meghan Markle.
Go for it, Tina. Tina?
But then we're talking about Meghan Markle, who. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you're talking about Meghan Markle, who's shown extensively in her history that she can't maintain any long-term, real emotional connection relationships. And, I always, it boggles my mind how you can treat your family like that, your dad, and we have for years, her speaking about her dad on a stage and how he brought her up in a good way. And now since she's just turned that, Jessica Mulroney is a bridesmaid. Like, if she can treat her own dad, if they can sit back and do that to our queen, an old woman, his gran, Jessica's nobody. That's just like mere detail to someone like Meghan Markle, like that. That's like that. Meghan will go with what aesthetically is right in the moment for whatever chapter she's doing in her life. I feel like she just plays like a movie script and a different character. And people are drawn to authenticity and continuity and genuine, and you don't get that from Meghan Markle. And yeah, she's shown through her actions. She speaks a lot of words, but her actions contradict it, and her actions speak to not a very nice woman, to me.
It's all in the actions, I really, many years ago, when I watched the Oprah interview, immediately watching it, I remember I'm watching this thing and I'm shouting at the TV because she's not answering. She's very vague in the whole interview and how she's positioning things intentionally. This is Meghan. And right away, and even with the engagement interview, she's the same. She really never answered a question. She kind of circumvented them. She's very vague. And they always say when people are vague, it's because they're not straight shooters. They're hiding something. They've got an ulterior motive. There's something else going on. So they want to keep their options open because they want to be able to twist things. And I think she has not failed in revealing who she was right at the beginning. It's taken us a long time, and even to accept, how did that get there? And how is that allowed to continue?
No, and it is something that, again, I go back to it. It's like the weaponization of these social issues, and that she knew that the royal family, you know what I mean. She knew that the royal family were not going to speak out against it.
Right.
And people say that she doesn't have anything on the royal family, and they're wrong. What she has on the royal family is that the royal family has gone along with her craziness and they have never called her out. So this is what narcissists do. They make you complicit to their craziness. And once you're complicit to that, once you go along with it, once you don't say the royal family didn't need to put on their website that she majored into from Northwestern University and that she spoke French fluent in Spanish, that they have since removed. But at the time they went along with it. Right now they are promoting their commercial website, which is Sussex.com, which is not a royal website, yet they're promoting it on their main page, on the royal family's page. It's being promoted. So they say, here, go watch the official website of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Do you know that would be like, I think that Zara Tindall just became the ambassador from some brand, like the daughter of Princess Anne, right? That would be
Yeah.
like having Zara Tindall's. Go watch Zara Tindall, and this is her brand, and having Zara Tindall in the website, the royal website, somebody who's not a working member of the royal family, and that is something that people don't understand is giving them credibility. I have such a hard time in my Spanish channel, and I told you that when that thing with the logo broke about the city of Porredes, I phoned the city, the town hall, and I spoke to their mayor's office, and they got a phone call from Buckingham Palace, and I said to them, I think that you've been lied to. I was so sure. The first thing I thought, I'm sure this is Meghan pretending to be from the palace, put somebody who's British calling. But no, the people wanted to make sure that they knew. They gave them a phone number and they had a video call, so they knew. So these are Buckingham Palace phone and asked if they could de-escalate. And from the morning narrative of this mayor who said, "Oh, we're considering all our legal options," later in the afternoon, they're inviting Meghan Markle to come to the parties of the city town.
Yeah, see?
You
There's
know,
a
and
lot
people don't
of things
understand
happening
that.
behind the scenes.
people don't understand that the palace is still supporting them in some way or the
Absolutely.
other because
Absolutely, the palace is supporting them. I mean, it's like someone who has a child that acts up, but you still create. They still talk to that guy, and you still phone for the tickets, and you still do the other stuff for the child. Of course, they're doing that. This is an institution. This, if something were to happen to him, it would be catastrophic worldwide, internationally. Nobody wants to take that responsibility, right?
Yes.
Especially that he's not in the UK. If he was in
Yeah.
the UK, they would be safer if something happened to him there. It'd be like an act, but anywhere else in the world now, whatever country is hosting him, they're going to be, regardless of the rhetoric, they're going to be specifically careful for political reasons, for diplomatic reasons, for just other reasons, conspiracy reasons. They're going to be very careful. So he's getting extra royal treatment by not being in the UK right now.
well,
And she's
Yeah.
benefiting from all this. So they can spin out of
And
control
it's all,
and people keep protecting them.
well, you know what? I don't know
yeah.
if they're doing it to protect
It's
them.
a really,
I think they're doing it to protect themselves because they know that
Oh,
everything
yeah.
that Harry and Meghan do
yeah.
reflects on them.
But it is for themselves, but they protect them to protect themselves. Of course, people are not protecting
Yeah.
them because they love them. People are protecting them because they don't want a political shitstorm. They don't want to have something happen to
Yeah.
themselves, you know?
Like
Like, could you imagine?
Megan selling bath salts on Netflix in the connections to the titles is less damaging than, say, if the royal family come out, stop the titles, and we watched Harry and Meghan free fall into a divorce. Then we see Harry drunkenly coming out of pubs, and like we know Harry can do. We watched him in Las Vegas when he was younger. That's more damaging to the royal family and the brand that is this institution. I know a lot of people think that when William takes that he's going to be different. No, he's just going to maintain what's there so they can keep an eye and keep them protected, because it's going to damage not only the royal family but the Queen's legacy. And they're in too deep now. They're wound up in all the lies that Harry and Meghan have spoken, and this is why I've spoken out about Harry and Meghan. It's the abuse. It's the abuse of power, the power dynamic. You know, people look at it and think, well, the royal family are really powerful. No, Harry and Meghan are really powerful because it's almost like the royal family are howled back into a corner, because Harry and Meghan always knew never complain and never explain as the royal family way. So they knew they could come out and say all of this and it wouldn't have a clapback, you know. The royal family are not going to engage in this Jeremy Kyle, Jerry Springer-esque back and forth. And Harry and Meghan knew that, you know.
Totally. Totally, they know that. But
I
they
mean,
also know they're going to be given runway. They're going to be able to do things. And people are, you know, and they're going to they're trying to create some sensationalism, maybe because their life is so privileged that this adds excitement, this adds purpose, even if though it's negative, you know, it's something apart from there, and it's their own. They don't have to bow down to everybody. People are tiptoeing around them.
And let's be honest with you, it's all they have. Meghan's doing this because Harry's used to a certain standard of living. They got a mansion in Montecito and a mortgage like God knows what. They've got gardening bills. They are having to place themselves in front of us, and no doubt for her, I don't know, cortisol greed, but it's they've got no choice at this point because they've got to fund the lifestyle that they're accustomed to. But in devil's advocate, are the royal family, by not doing anything, leaving it into, it's going to spiral out of control anyway, and someone's going to end up burning all their skin. It's all connected, you know. We've got Spanish towns in the coat of arms. It's spiraling anyway. And this is the problem. You do have to nip a narcissist in the bud. Like you got to like put that out as well.
I just want to say something here, guys. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about Harry's visa quickly because I have some news about that. But Jenny, you say William won't be able to strip the titles even if he wanted to. You know what? Because I do have some additional subscribers. I just want to show you this, guys. This is a petition that was submitted and to the UK Parliament, right? Because this is how you do if you want to request something. People were requesting to remove the titles of Duke and Duchess of, well, Meghan doesn't have a title, so this was wrong. This should have been to remove the title of Duke from Prince Harry, right? The petition was rejected, okay? And basically, this is what they said. In any case, the use of royal titles are a matter for Her Majesty the Queen and not the government or Parliament. So Prince William could perfectly decide to say that the Sussex title, you won't be Duke of Sussex. The title of Duke of Sussex either dies with you. He has many options. He can make it that the title is, because right now Harry's title is hereditary, which means when he dies it goes to Archie. But William can turn it into life peerage, which means that when Harry dies, the Sussex title returns to the crown. Or he can say, you know what? You're no longer working royals and you're no longer a duke nor a prince of the kingdom because you don't even live here. The monarch has absolute and complete prerogative over all titles, styles, and dignities. Okay. And I've shown you the letters patent. If you don't believe me, it's right here. And I mean, the king, he kind of felt pressured to give Prince Edward the title of Duke because it had been promised to him um, uh, when um, when he got married to Sophie. And these are the letters patent, guys, okay? And for example, here the Queen. The Queen, this is the children of the eldest son of the Prince of Wales in 2012. According to the letters patent of 1917, only George was to enjoy the style, title, and dignity of His Royal Highness Prince. And Charlotte would have been Lady Charlotte Mountbatten Windsor, and Louis would have been Lord Louis Mountbatten Windsor. But the
Right.
Queen, because the monarch can do that, said, you know what? There's a letters patent that says that that Charlotte and Louis shouldn't enjoy HRH or title. But she wrote the letters patent and said, no, I will give them all the title and style and dignity of HRH and Prince and Princess. This is why Meghan was so angry. And this is what she clumsily tried to explain during the Oprah interview, that why didn't, that there's this convention. She goes, because she's that stupid, guys. What she was trying to say, if the Queen made an exception for all the children of Prince William, in spite of the fact that only George was entitled, according to that 1917 letters patent, to have hold the title of prince and this dignity of HRH style, but she gave them to the other two. Why couldn't she do that with Archie, with mine? That's what she couldn't say because she's stupid. All she had to say, the Queen made an exception from William. Why couldn't she make an exception for mine too? But the Queen can smell a skank a mile away. Sorry, I forget you're here, Manuela. The Queen can smell treachery a mile away, and that's why she didn't make that exception. So for Jenny, yes, William can do it. And now we're going to talk about the visa, guys.
Mm.
What do you guys think of this? Prince
Um,
Harry's visa file to be made public after bombshell ruling by judge amid claims he lied about drug use. It's supposed to be made public at the latest on Tuesday.
it's just another. It's just going to be another layer, isn't it, to the spiral, the car crash that we're witnessing. I'm
It's
sure
gonna be. I
that
didn't know how to fill it in. I'm sorry, I
yeah,
forgot.
You
It,
can't you can't do that. You can't do that. It said so. I
I know,
actually
but
did it.
they're going to allow it. We have to remember they are not held to the same standards we are. They're not.
yeah,
They're not. The law is not for them,
no.
right? The law is for
And,
us to look at and say, we want everybody to be true. We want it, but the people who enforce it, they're being told probably not to. They're being told probably look for the exception, or do you know what this is going to mean to trade or to our position or politically, or there's going to be all this other stuff because he's still, regardless, he's still member of he's the son of the king. And that
yeah,
politically, it's like, if it's like anybody else, like anybody else's prime minister or minister's children, you're still blood. And then people are still going to be very careful at how they deal with them. I mean, unless they aren't worried about the power, but the UK reach is huge, and that's not just an elected official. This is a family that will not go away. Can't vote them out next week like you can with Keir Starmer or somebody, right? They're going to be
yeah.
there. So you're going to be very careful in what you do with their heirs.
Yeah, but the
It,
thing is that Trump is in power now, and Trump has been making examples of a lot of people.
Absolutely, but
And the thing is
he's
that
not
this guy is high
stupid.
profile. This guy
Yeah,
is
but
high profile, and he will look really bad And I've always had this theory, right, Tina? I've always run this theory that this is the king working in conjunction with Trump or whoever to say, you know what, we're going to prove he faked it and we're going to kick him out and he has to go back to the UK. So it's kind of like an emergency intervention. Maybe once his, and, we will see if Meghan Markle follows her. The love
Well,
of
to
her
be
life.
honest with you, I see that the King's inviting Trump for a second state visit, and to me, I think somewhat in there, there's this sense of protection over Harry as well, because they know how much Trump loves the royal family, loves England, and they need to keep him kind of on side so he doesn't deport Harry, because those will be horrific headlines for the royal family to contend with, that their son, a prince, has been deported out of a country. So I feel like there's a lot of that play going on as well. We say about it's wrong and they shouldn't do that. The only reason we speak is because morally over the last 4 years, Harry and Meghan have gone. There's a line and they've crossed it time and time again. And that's why people get frustrated, because they're enabled in propelled up, even though they are just so wrong. And you shouldn't walk that way and treat people that way. But they're just allowed to continue and they get applauded by so many. And it's just, this is why it continues.
And I think Trump's going to weigh out what really is important, because you can send Harry back, but you can't send Meghan anywhere. She has the right to stay where she is. So is she the problem or he the problem?
But the thing is that she's the problem because she's backed by Harry. So you see, if you remove Harry from the United States into the UK, Meghan loses all relevance, because I've heard people saying,
Oh,
"Oh,
she becomes a martyr. Oh my goodness. Now she becomes, look what you've done to me. You've taken
no, 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 no." You know what, Manuela, I'm going to push back there, because if Harry was able to give everything up for her, why wouldn't she follow her husband back to the UK?
Because her husband.
No, she would look pretty bad. She would look pretty bad if she doesn't. Don't you think so?
She looks bad anyway. She looks awful anyway. Like, this girl, like, she continues on, smile on her face, like nothing phases her. Like, if he got deported, it probably helped Harry to realize that actually I think it would open his eyes, because Meghan's never coming back to the UK. She will never support her husband in that way. Regardless, people go on about Camilla, and I know you're not the biggest fan, Paula, but Camilla stood by her man, regardless of the hate she was getting. And when we watched Harry come back to Charles's coronation, people, especially in the UK and the way we work, there would have been a little tiny ounce of respect for Meghan if she'd come and stood by her husband's side. But no, she was there to drop the bombs with him on sofas and get all the then the minute the shit hit the fan, sorry for my French, she was nowhere to be seen. It was like, you're on your own, Harry. You go and defend us now. And she's never cared about him. And obviously, the only reason I talk as well is because I do acknowledge the isolation, the segregation, the alienating away from his family, some of the red flags he's wrote in his book, which for me, someone who's been through coercive control and watched the damage of what it does, it just goes off in my head, constantly reminds him Harry was only the spare when Meghan came into his life. Prior to that, Harry was completely content. He even said it himself. He never realized there was an issue till Meghan come along. And there's nothing like a woman draped in your mom's clothes, mimicking her every move, to really drip feed that trauma bond. Like, crazy. Sorry. My opinion, obviously not a doctor or an expert.
No, go for it. No. But the thing is, though, that I believe that Meghan Markle has gotten what she needed. I believe that if she had a surrogate for children, which is what I believe it is happened, the royal family knew about it, and the royal family have kept quiet, and that's what she holds over the royal family: the fact that the royal family has gone complicit about it. For example, people really downplay the fact that Jason Kanoff, he testified that Meghan Markle was a bully, that he wrote to the royal family. So it's not like the royal family was not aware that Meghan Markle was bullying the staff, which goes against the rules of the very same dignity in the workplace policy. So just by Jason Kanoff coming out and saying, "Hey, I wrote to everybody," and the royal family didn't listen. So just by that, people don't understand the magnitude of that statement, because it means that the royal family were aware of that they're being abusive and went along with it. So that's what they have over the royal family. that the royal family was complicit and covered up this behavior, because there were a hell of a lot more things that could have been said about Meghan Markle that were shut down, completely shut down. For example, people on Suits are afraid to come out and talk about what a nightmare she was. Nobody wants to talk, but I don't think that's because they're afraid of Meghan Markle. But I think it's because they're afraid of the palace. And because they don't know, because the palace has been very ambivalent about everything. For example, why just remove them from the royal website, or you can do, and I've shown this because they can actually do this, guys, and this is going to blow your mind. Believe it or not, they can actually do this. If you go to the website, the UK website here, UK that Royal UK, I think is Royal UK, the website. Let me see, Royal UK website. If you go to the royal website right here, right, you actually have to look, you have to look for, you will see the queen's name. For example, you have the royal UK, you will see the queen's name, right? Here, let me see. I'm going to show it to you. You can see the Queen Elizabeth name. You can find, here. This is that, right? This is that about the king, and then you have the royal family. I think you can go to the royal family news. Where is the royal family here? So you go to the royal family. You can search for, you will find, these are the current members, but then you have like a separate thing that says Queen Elizabeth, you know? And if you want to find out about Prince Philip, because I wanted to find out about Prince Philip, where is the search thing? I think they've updated it, because you were able to search before. So you would search for Prince Philip. You have to search for him, and then it takes you to a link. And then you would search for Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. You would have to search for her. She's somewhere in here, but it doesn't land on the main page like Harry and Meghan does. You know what I mean? So, for example, here, when you have the royal family, you land on Harry and Meghan. You will get Harry and Meghan right here. See? You get Harry and Meghan, members of the royal family. And what do members of the royal family do? They support the king. Members of the royal family work together to support the king in his official duties. And who do we have there? At least the last time I checked, there's Harry and Rachel Meghan Markle. There they are. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's kind of like, but you don't see Prince Philip, you don't see the Queen. You have to search for them. So they removed the search button for some reason. So instead of
The
having
thing is, though,
go for
you
it,
know,
go for it, Tina.
no, King Charles, obviously, the royal family. The one thing the royal family have done is shown loyalty towards the family. They keep it together. For King Charles would never remove him from that website. They are his boys. He loves them, and he's never gonna do that visually. He wouldn't want the people to see it. It's just going to create too many headlines. It's going to create too much of a stir. They need to protect the brand. But I don't think he would ever cut Harry off like that, just on a dad and maybe the guilt Charles carries because of Camilla, and this is why Harry weaponizes it in the way he does. It's a really dysfunctional family, isn't it?
And I don't think
it's just us.
They don't want to show their laundry. They don't want everybody to know what's happening and everything. They're going to try to have a united front, even though, and this is what I think they're doing in the US. They're just making so much noise because they know they're in this wild, wild opportunity, because the royal family aren't going to do anything. Can you imagine? I mean, if he abandons his child, what kind of king is that? Like he has to look at it in two different ways too. You have to think about, people are going to say, well, who are you? You're not a very good role model, or look at how you run your family, or you're going to get involved in gossip, or you can't control this. I mean, there's so many different angles. This has really created a shitstorm for them. you
Yeah,
know?
well, it has. It has. It's brought it to their lap, and again, timing, as in when they were grieving, when they were losing the Philip, the Queen. This is where it just absolutely repulsed the people. And a large majority would actually applaud the royal family if they made that stance, because it's so tricky. Because if they were to cut him off, it would send a message that no, you have healthy boundaries. This is wrong. So this would send this to the families out there who've got someone who's manipulating them and taking advantage of their kindness and stuff like that. But at the same time, you're always going to have that negative backlash in the woke community, like in all of that, which are going to be like, oh my God, you can't do that to your son. They can't win. They're stuck. Harry and Meghan have placed them in a situation where their hands are tied behind their back and they have to just suck it up.
But did they at this point, what I find interesting, I'm just thinking out loud, but I think right now with the bath salts, for example, or the jam, for example, now this is something that is literally going out from their hands or their knowledge to the public. Before, everything they did was it hurt their family, it created gossip. But now you could potentially hurt people at large. Maybe they've crossed the line at this point. Maybe they've done something that puts more people at risk, and this may be the time.
And I said this with the coat of arms with the Spanish town. It's one thing you having a family dispute and that going back and forth and the people spectating that. But when you're spectating a Spanish mayor coming out and going, this is our identity, this is our town, this is our coat of arms, please think about this. This is where the king's son is creating feelings and emotions in using that title, and it's damaging past that family sphere, you know, in a bit like you said about anyone connected to those bath salts and the branding on that scene, on that clip, will be affected by this. Well, an extension back from this is the royal family, that they are a brand connected to Harry and Meghan, you know.
They're the sub brand.
Yes,
royal family is the main brand. They're a sub brand, and maybe it's not a great brand, but it's still affiliated. But I think now that this sub brand is making things like recommending certain foods or certain diets or certain recipes like the bath salts, and people go out and hurt themselves with it, this is going to be what one line they cross that they shouldn't have crossed. I think that this is opening them up to a very different experience with the world than what they've had up until this point. I mean, speculations of what they've been doing, how they spend their money, all this doesn't really affect us. It could perturb us, it could trigger us, but it doesn't put us in harm's way. But the bath salts could potentially put us in harm's way.
Yeah. And the bigger this gets and the more enabled they are, because you couldn't get any bigger and enabled than bringing something out on Netflix, which is damaging, which is on the world global stage. If this carries on and they get enabled and the greed takes them further and people are just not pulling her up and not protecting her at this point either, then it could even actually go worse than the bath salts, you know?
Potentially, yeah.
Well, it is the sad thing of it all is that this is what I'm saying is that Meghan Markle and Harry have been allowed to weaponize serious social issues against people, and that if you speak out against something, you are a racist. If you speak up against something, or if you criticize something, you are a sexist. It is, for example, people are saying that Netflix doesn't want to part ways with Meghan because of they want to keep her close because they know the divorce is coming. I can guarantee to you that they don't want to speak to Meghan. They will want to speak to Harry, because Harry is the one who's the royal prince, and he's the one who gave up everything. Because people are shocked. People are like shocked. I know, and people are shocked that this idiot. I mean, you know, one of the things that completely blew out of my mind was when Meghan was in the Oprah interview. And she's saying that she gave up her career or gave up this. And I'm like, and she's trying to say that her being written out of Suits, being 100. And by the way, George the Giant Slayer is the one who took the hit for all of us. And he watched the entire series and he counted the seconds and minutes Meghan Markle was in the entire series. The entire series was like 8,000 and so minutes. She was 134 minutes, a little bit less than 134 minutes. And most of those minutes, she was walking by or handing papers, and that's it. She started getting more when in 2016 she said she was dating Harry. Okay, she started to get more lines. But if you look at it beforehand, she was just there or in the bathroom. She even gave an interview, which I showed when she did a women's empowerment thing, when she said that she had to tell the producer that that she was done being naked all the time because that's all she did. She was always in a bath or showing her ass on her flat ass and something, and that she said, I'm done with that. I told him I don't want to do any more of that. But she only did that when she started dating Harry, and she started telling people earlier on, guys, about it. And the reason why we know she was dating him earlier on is because we have this the Dater's Handbook co-star spoke out. And I feel sorry for Corey Vitiello, who's a lovely guy, you know, in a restaurant. By the way, if you're in Toronto, go to Flock. It's amazing. But this guy said he did the movie The Dater's Handbook on November and December 2015. And he gave an interview, and I've shown it, where he says that, I mean, I'll show it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not going to take much of your time, but I'm just going to show it because it's important to show that I'm not talking out of my ass here, and you guys can see it because this is him saying about Meghan Markle. And again, this woman is dangerous because she is weaponizing things. She has lied so much, and people are still afraid to call her out on her lies.
Nobody
And
fact check. If you fact check her, you're in trouble. Like if you actually do anything, would you come with proof or whatever? People are like, no, like you're the bad guy, because you dislike her because of her race or her size or her sex. It's not true. It's just because it's just spewing garbage. But people don't.
Well, I always said they've got like a technicolor dream coat of woke, haven't they? It's just like a different trigger word all over them, and it's like keeps people at bay to never judge them, never criticize, never question. But the reality is I questioned Amber Heard over her lies and mistruth on the main stage, and I questioned Meghan Markle for the exact same. It's got nothing to do with race. And actually, if we look at politically and the big change, I do think Harry and Meghan were the first signal in that, because when you've got the king's son coming out in casting doubt over a whole country in the way they did, I think a lot of the British people at that point we give up. We can't win. What you're doing is wrong. Wouldn't treat. And actually with this, the way I have debates at work and stuff, and people go to me, they know what I'm like, and someone mentioned Meghan Markle and they're like, don't start Tina off. But I will go back and forth, and I've got colleagues who don't like the royal family, and they swear the king pressed a button or what have you with Diana, and I always end the debate with, would you do that to your gran? And they're like, no. And that's different cultures. It's the family values they smashed up on the world stage, and that's what a lot of people connect with, no matter your age, gender, race. That's it. People call that out for what it is. It's got nothing to do with what they've tried to protect themselves using. And I think Harry and Meghan are they've turned themselves into the symbolism of what everyone despises nowadays.
Yeah. Well, they're very entitled and very rude and very ungrateful. And, it's like, can you imagine you having a Christmas dinner or whatever, and you have someone come over and you have, like, I'm Italian, so we have certain traditions for Christmas Eve, for example, no meat, we have fish, we do this, the presents the next day. It's just small little things, but it's something that they've done for, I don't know, maybe 100 years. I'm not too sure, but I was raised and born in this. And I like to keep the tradition because it just feels safe. When you have these traditions in your family, you bring, generations together. And if you have an outsider come into your family and you welcome them into your home, and then all of a sudden they come with chicken wings and the different food, and it's like you're going against the grain.
Yeah.
Like, and it's sometimes you have to like not fold with tradition, but respect traditions. For example, on Tuesday night is New Year's, Iranian New Year's. My husband's Iranian, so I love it because we're going to be able to make the half scene. We're able to put the table out and put all the things and celebrate the spring. I just think it's beautiful. We're going to be able to celebrate this thing. I invite everybody in my family who are, not Iranian to also participate, because this is a way we bring us together. And it's very interesting how the Italian half really embraced it. They didn't go there and say, "Oh, I can't believe it that they're not going to be serving this, this, and this," or "They didn't teach me the song. I only had," it's like, come on, Meghan. When you put cultures together, you should be growing, not stifling, not making things smaller. This is an opportunity to exchange traditions and history and grow and create something even more bigger and much more beautiful, right? But they've actually decided to take the different route.
But this is the thing with her, and this is how we know. This is how, this is absolute proof, guys, that I know that she was Camilla Tominey's source when she when Camilla Tominey put out that story on October 31st, 2016, that Harry was dating Meghan. Okay, because Meghan was texting everybody she knew that there was a story about to break, and the only way that she would know is that because nobody knew, because apparently she sent the pictures to Camilla Tominey as proof. You know those famous pictures of Harry and Meghan with Princess Eugenie and that thing? Because Camilla Tominey wouldn't publish something like that unless she had proof. And then Meghan was around texting people. And I'm going to show you guys, like I told you, this is her former co-star in the Dater's Handbook. Okay. So I'm going to mute so it's not.
Tell me the movie again that you did with Meghan Markle.
Yeah, it's called A Dater's Handbook.
Okay. And that was 6 months before she met Harry?
Literally, yeah.
Was she on Suits? So she was on Suits.
She was still on Suits. I liked her. I had a great time with her. We had fun. Yeah. I think she's cool. She's whip smart.
Did you think this woman should be a princess?
I mean,
she's going to do well. Wasn't she married before?
She was. She was married and she had been divorced. And then when I met her, she was dating this guy in Toronto that she wasn't that into. And I was like, why are you dating a guy you're not that into? Like, you just got out of a marriage you weren't that into. Like,
yeah,
go be free. So she texted me and she's like, I took your advice. I broke up with the guy.
Now I'm free.
Footloose and fancy free. And I was like, good for you. And then our movie aired in February. And then in March, she's like, hey, I met somebody. I was like, oh, that's quick.
She just said, I met somebody.
Yeah. She's like, I met somebody. And then radio silence until October. And then in October, I get my last text from Meghan Markle that she was like, the news is going to break today.
Yeah.
The guy that I met is Prince Harry. I'm like, holy shit. And she's like, I'm bouncing. I don't think I cleared the friend list. I didn't bet.
Wait. No. Because I would have heard if you went to the royal wedding.
I didn't go. Our agent did though. Nick was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So she said to this guy that she met Harry in February. I mean, she's texted him a message. It could have been before then. Then she just said, you know what? I'm free. We know that she was living with Corey Vitiello until at least July 22nd, 2016, when she posted on Instagram, thanking the flock because Doria was visiting her in Toronto. I had that Instagram post from Meghan Markle. She was thanking the flock for setting up that lovely brunch with her mother on July 22nd. And that's before she went to Botswana with Harry. So this woman is a big fat liar, and she's been cheating on Corey Vitiello. She cheats on everybody. She wasn't sure. She broke up with him after she came back from Botswana when she thought that she had secured the deal.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what? In listening to him then, and I'm not, to listen to a man have to tell a feminist in which he speaks on, strong, independent woman. The fact that a man is feeling the need to say to her, why are you with someone that you don't like, have a bit more respect for you, like, why are you going from man to man to man? It just, like, this is what annoys me so much when I see female founder. Now, to me, someone like Manuela, who's built up a business, a baby, and she took it from there to there, that's a female founder. But we're going to listen now to Meghan speak about how strong, and she's going to come out with these quotes about being, you've got a man telling you, do you really need to like go from man to man? And that was quick. And like, why are you with someone? And she goes from man to man to man. And we're going to watch her do this podcast where she's going to speak about being a female founder, of building someone up, and she's literally married or had a dad carry her into everything. It's always been off the back of a man. Oh, that annoys
very
me.
protected. Yeah, and very protected and very, very pampered and given things without earning. Yeah. You know, as opposed to when you are a founder or a business person or even a parent, or there's so many sacrifices, so many things that you have to earn. I mean, doors don't open unless you knock and knock and knock and knock and many times, you know.
Well,
you got
Manuela, you've been there. You've built isomers up. There must have been days at the start where you just felt like, oh my God, like this is not, and you pushed and pushed because your passion for that product, your passion to get people to, like, that drove you. But this is the thing with Meghan. This is why none of her anything she touches or places before us connects with us, because there's no passion. She's just been given it and she needs to do something with it, and it's not her baby, you know. Like it's not something she really wants to do. She's just doing it because she's able to do it, because she's got a little prince on her arm, like a little token. In the way she, you know, texting them, she has to get in there to like let them know that I've got Prince, and it's just
Oh my God, Jennifer. I just want to say, Simple Beauty Jennifer, I've sent you so many emails, woman. Can you please respond? Please, her channel is also amazing. We were supposed to do a video together. Simple Beauty, I don't know if you want to come on in the last few minutes. I can send you by email the link. She's also she's amazing, and please go to her channel, because she's right. This is what Manuela is also explaining, like you. I saw your video, by the way, Jennifer. So yes, if you want to come on, I can send you the link right away, so you can also reinforce this message, because it's incredibly important for people to know how terrible this how dangerous this is. You know, like, people don't understand that when you when you do stuff like that, when you recommend or you have somebody like Meghan Markle and Netflix, and then a royal title, it gives you credibility.
yeah,
Yes.
It really
automatic,
does, guys.
automatic.
No, I'm serious. It gives you credibility. It must be true, because you know, she's using the royal title, and this is, you know, this is important, you know, like, and it must be true, because if she uses it, I can use it too. I mean, and it's dangerous. You have pregnant women, you have children who are out there.
And
It's
that's why the Queen was so steadfast on the fact that you cannot use these titles, you cannot use it for financial. And I don't even think it's the risk. It's the risk when you're taking the HRH, which the Queen said no, like you can't do 50-50. You're either in it with the royal family or you're out there. You can't be playing, because it's a risk to the monarchy. It's a risk to this country.
It's a brand liability.
Yes.
Literally, it's a brand liability. And of course, then there's negligence and there's all these things that go with it. And this is just an extension of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, Jennifer, I mean, I sent you the link in case you want to, just for a few minutes, just join us. That'd be great. Because that is important, guys, because believe it or not, even when we have people like Manuela, people like Jennifer, by the way, Jennifer was also featured on the Daily Mail. Even when you have people who know what they're talking about, guys, and they're telling you danger, danger, you know, Philip Robinson, whatever the call it was, you know, like that, Lost in Space, people will still copy this woman, because they will believe bigger platforms like Netflix and this is the danger of Meghan Markle, the access that she's given because of the title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that, guys, you know, like, she should have been warned. Like, there should have been
People can't
warning.
tell the difference. Sorry, people can't tell the difference between an influencer, someone's opinion, or an expert. And I think because the waters are so muddy, this is where the danger comes from. Because maybe, you know, her little recipe, it should be positioned as, this is something I do, don't do this at home, but this is something I'm going to try. And cushion it as that. And don't pretend to, here we go, I'm going to give this out, and then without any of the disclaimers. Or say, I actually went to a chemist and I had them formulate this. This is what they told me. When you use this, because it would have been very simple for her. I mean, it would have taken an hour out of her day. That would have been 1 week's worth of work for her, to basically ask somebody about how to dilute it or how this actually comes together properly. And then they could have actually given something of value, right?
Yeah.
Something real, tangible of value. But it's convoluted in something that's now dangerous. And maybe it gets more attention being so dangerous. But the fact that somebody could be making this at home right now, giving it to somebody with the arnica and the lavender and just those bath salts like that.
And
Not
let's be
good.
honest with you. Let's be honest with you. With the Netflix scope, that's global, but not everyone's on social media in this algorithm, so they wouldn't actually get access to you, Manuela, saying this. So there could be someone at home now in their kitchen producing this in mass to give as gifts. As it's actually that could be happening. It could be happening right now.
You know, when we formulate, we do so many skin tests, even with formulas that we've made over and over and over again. If we use a base that we have proven to be safe and effective and non-toxic, okay, and we know that it works for sensitive skin and it helps your skin barrier, so you've got this base. And then we're going to add 3% or 2% or 5% of this other ingredient. This whole thing gets retested for safety, right? Because we don't know the reaction, the synergy, what can happen. After a while, you learn. So you create small batches, and then we do challenge tests or other allergy tests, or we do repeat insult tests. Because sometimes you can use something once, twice, but by the third time or fourth time, like we have to put all of that into context when we manufacture, when we are actually put our product out there for people. So this information is very important. That's even in our channels of Isomers Laboratories or our Skincare University. We try to give bite-sized information so people can take it and go into their chemist or their drugstore or their supermarket and buy wisely and not hurt themselves. This was the opposite of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the recklessness of it. You know, it's like a complete disregard. It's like, and what is worse of all of this is that people, it's like, you know, everything has gone to Netflix head because they forget that people, they exist because people buy the subscription. If they didn't, you know, and they've lost so many subscribers, you know. Oh, Simple Beauty, okay, thank you, sweetie. Yeah, so we can set it up. And you know what, I would love to have you so you can also inform people, because the more people we have about this, the more it is important to do this. So please go subscribe to all of the people here that come. Thank you, and have a great day at church. I know you're going to your church service. Yes, she's Christian. Like I am a Christian lady too, you know. So yes, I hope you have a wonderful time at mass. So, but yes, like I have been people, and this is my message. Why is this woman allowed with no credentials whatsoever to endanger other people's lives? And why is Netflix? Because Netflix, they're dependent on us, guys. And this is the thing you don't understand, that we have the power. You just unsubscribe. That'll hurt them. And not only that, you know, because people who are really talented, they're going to be questioning, wait a minute, why are you paying me so little? And you're paying this I'm sorry. And you're paying this woman so much for such a shit, because people, you know what they've complimented? Oh, it looks aesthetically beautiful. So what? I mean, with the amount of production and the cameras, anything can look aesthetically beautiful. But the content of the program, it was crap.
Well, but that's the thing, isn't it? Even down to the raw chicken legs on the fridge, open, with a salad right next to it. Everyone's just like, "Oh my god!" Like that's, but it's that desperation for Meghan to show off the fridge. It's that little bit extra. Look at my immaculate fridge. You know, the failures, like the popcorn on the side. It's just, you think, are they setting her up at this point in time? Because how are you, Netflix, this big, allowing this to go out? How are you not protecting her from herself? You know, I just can't even fathom how it could be so wrong, and it could have gone so wrong. Like, we all expected it to, you know, just fail. But on this level, she's really good. Like, we think it's going to be bad, but then she just digs deeper and it goes worse. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, she can make a I don't know if the pasta is good or bad, but you say a recipe, you don't like the taste or whatever. No harm, no foul. You spent an hour doing it. But you make this recipe for bath salt and you give it to somebody that you care about, and all of a sudden they end up with a rash that lasts, and they have to go get, to the doctor, dermatologist, or they have, something seriously happened to their skin with that lasts for months and months. You have a problem here.
And I'm going to tell you something, for example, and I'm not even a chef, okay? And I know this because I cook all the time. When you cook, you learn trips, and I love to bake, right?
Yeah.
For example, one of the tips I learned, if the cake is not well cooked and you slice it and you pull it out, you will see pieces of the cake come out because it's not made enough. It's like, or you put a toothpick in to see if it's done. If not, but if you don't want, for example, the cake, you can put the knife, the cake knife, to cool. Also, if you get it very cold and you slice it, you get a very nice cut. I mean, or when she said, don't don't use tap water for the ice cubes. You can actually use tap water. You just let the water rest for a little bit until the chlorine disappears. And then you can use those glasses. You don't need to buy, like expensive water for that. I know because I do it all the time here. I don't do the ice cubes, okay? But I use water like that for my ice cubes. And water is, chlorine. When you pour it, you get the chlorine. But if you let it sit for like an hour or so, then it's clear. And then if she knew these things, like she would know. If she actually cooked, she would know that. It's like when you're cooking a lot, and it's just, for me, is the shocking part of the access, the lack
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
information, the misinformation, the dangerous misinformation she's putting out there, and Netflix, who is arrogant, who thinks that they're immune to lawsuits or that they have enough money to spare to tolerate. And I am going to go, when I'm done with this live, I am going to go and try her. I'm not kidding. I am going to try her bath
Don't
salt.
soak in the arnica, please.
No. I'm going to use everything that she does, and I'm going to look at what exactly she's wearing and stuff. I'm going to use it. I'm going to film myself. And if anything happens, I will send it to a lawyer in the United States, and there will be sued. And I urge people. I mean, that's why to begin with, that's why they put out her channel, for people to see what she does, to impart her wisdom, so they would follow her example. That Pamela Anderson cooking show was amazing. It's so much fun, it's lovely. I mean, and they have disclaimers. They're giving you the recipe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting a disclaimer. It's actually very smart to do it and say, we're putting this together, and not, what we do. I'm sorry, I always go back to what I do, the formulating. But when we formulate, for example, I also don't know who's buying the product and how they're going to use it. So even that, we have to put that into our equation when it's dispensing, what the concentration is and all this. So there's very little room for error. You want high success, low risk. This is what a responsible manufacturer does, product does. This is also a consumer should absolutely expect that. That's your level of expectation. So even the information that they're dishing out in the show should be the same. There should be low risk, high safety.
Yeah, but by the way, I'm showing Tina from the Aftermath. That is her channel. Please go subscribe. It's the Aftermath 83. You can go subscribe to her. So, she does a lot more stuff on TikTok, but you should go subscribe to her channel. And of course, isomers, that I love your things, your
Thank you.
I'm so in love with that thing. I wish I wish, yeah. But yeah, no, it's just, like it's so great. I wish I'd known before. It would have been such time saving and money saving for me. So this is isomers. So this is Manuela's, and she actually you do have a playlist, which is the founders, right?
I have the Confessions of a Cosmetic Chemist. I started that last year.
Here.
Over a year ago. But this is really the journey of being a businesswoman and a mom and an entrepreneur and a daughter. My mother had, dementia, and, having children late in life. It's just all of it, being away from my family, having to travel a lot for business and making tough decisions. And, when the sacrifices we make to build our business, and reflecting on that, reflecting on were those the right decisions and what did I learn, and could somebody use this little bit of information now in their life and make better choices for themselves so they have less regrets, and you know, they just see how it, because I've had the opportunity, I'm 61, I'm going to be 62 soon, and to be able to have that opportunity of having somebody who's walked this road and look back and say, this was good, this was bad, beware. Consider these things, because later on it really matters, right? It's good to have. So that's why we want to do Confessions of a Cosmetic Chemist. I didn't think about making it a co-founder, but I think that's already taken.
No, everybody's using it apparently. Well, Megan is using it. She just doesn't care.
Yeah.
I think Megan just goes through life and go, I want that, I'm going to take that. I want that, I'm going to take that. And from what I watch her, and I feel there's no growth. We've seen no growth in the character placed before us, and when she stepped into the royal family and since she's left, like, there's no growth. But you never see the ability to preempt the damage of the word she's going to come out of her mouth now. She can never look back. She says that she don't look back. So then how can you learn from the mistakes you've made if you don't acknowledge them, deal with them? How can you grow forward? But she's just always putting out the fire from the last problem she's created, but she don't look back, and she's just stuck in a circle going round on a loop, and we're all just watching going, oh my god, stop.
Yeah. The thing is, I think too, she gets bored very easily because she really has no passion for what she's doing.
Yeah.
This is a project. Oh, it didn't work out, I'm going to drop it, I'm going to move on. Because she has no attachment, and that leads to authenticity. I believe the three of us, things that we've built through years and struggle and perspective and everything. Like we took our, we develop our own brand, or who we are and our identity. I think she doesn't have one yet. She's just trying to grab everything because she was given this platform, and she's like a kid in a candy store going, I want it all, it's like a crazy toddler.
The damage of a lie. And actually, I know we all get frustrated, and I like to, the poetic justice in the fact that she's used Harry, she's used the royal family as like this vessel. And what I witnessed in that Drew Barrymore interview is Meghan Markle no longer wanting to talk about the royal family, no longer wanting to talk about Harry. She's degraded him to just hate. She's like Meghan Sussex now. And she's trying to if she's trying to get rid of the royal family, she will always, the only reason she's doing a podcast is because of the royal family. The only reason people come and watch Oprah and Netflix is because of the royal family. It will always lead back to the royal family, in the poetic justice in the fact that she can't even go solo now, because although she used it to get her to here, she's stuck with it, So that always makes me smile.
I think the royal family is he's becoming a liability for her, and just I find that, I don't know, I guess feminist is the word. I'm a strong, independent woman. I've made my own, but at the same time, reducing a man to a letter. Yeah. I would never do that. I mean, I'm sorry. I just think that says something about me and him. I just think that's diminishing your partner diminishes. It's a reflection on you.
Yeah. She can't allow him. She knows that the people are only ever going to want to know about him. So she's just trying to diminish him to hate. And she would even refer to him as my husband. And we're all looking on going, we know who your husband is, Meghan. This is not like we're strangers. And if I was to introduce my husband, if people didn't know him, but this is Harry. We paid for your wedding, as in the British people. So when my husband, or the father of my children, we've watched him going from Harry and William in a soft, the people had that connection, to go from being H to the spare to my husband. And even my husband is placing herself before him. And the little language in which my husband is even placing herself in a visual sense before him when she refers to him that way, when we all know him anyway. So it's crazy.
The one that triggered me was when it was my now husband. I was like, wow, who are you?
The husband of the current.
Here goes the Rolodex of husbands. My now husband, this one.
It's all embarrassing. This is all embarrassing. It is. And thank you, Queen's Guard. Yes, please, the moderators, can you help me put out Tina's and because I have to talk to you guys, and I don't want to look like I'm not listening to you. So please put Tina's and also
Thank you.
isomers. That's Manuela's website, which her products are fantastic. I mean, I swear to you guys, I'm not wearing any makeup, nothing, nothing.
Makeup optional. I love that.
I
Wow.
have no
We are
choice. I have
in
stupid
first.
lupus. Look at my fingers; they're starting to acting up again. But but your products are amazing. I am so loving, the firming thing here. It's made such a difference. But I told you this privately. I am obsessed with the Botox thing here and even here.
I know.
But the one with the neck, guys, it's made such a difference. I'm so in love with that. Well, Claudia, you have to learn. So yeah, so please go subscribe to them. But we're gonna wrap it up, and we're gonna do another live on Sundays. I'm gonna be,
Yeah.
that I'm doing lives on Saturdays and Sundays. We'll leave the link once the live has gone up, for you to click on it, and it'll take you to Manuela's website, of course, Tina's website, and I'm gonna have Jennifer, also who was kind enough to leave her comments. And because guys, don't use those bath water salts; they're deadly.
Be
And
careful.
if you do,
Yeah, stay away.
film yourself making it according to Megan's instruction. If you feel that determined to use that. Oh, and don't forget to go check out George the Giant Slayer. We
I
need
can't.
to
I'm
go
gonna go and
watch
watch it
that.
now.
Guys,
I love
trust
George.
me. Once you watch that, you're gonna go, damn it, damn it.
Mm,
It's like,
mm.
I was like, and I was angry. He ended up, because I thought, like 40 minutes, that's too soon. He should have continued. Like you were like, no, no, please don't stop, keep going. But it made such perfect sense why Harry and Meghan Markle are the way they are, and why they're enabled by these huge companies that give them credibility.
Yeah.
And people don't. I've
Mhm.
seen the mainstream media, and they take the clickbait approach about things. Oh, she's gonna. But I think there's some serious issues here in this show that people are not addressing.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
agree.
that this woman has access to massive
But the
platforms to talk stupidity and endanger people's lives.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, we George's analogy and his analog and how he done it. It's the people are seeing this. The people are waking up to this. But this started up there, and it's like fed down to the people over years, and now it's starting to defrost, and the people at the bottom. But Meghan is still in a circle where it's still quite heavily set in, so they're
Mhm.
scared of, and they're still stuck in quite this woke sort of world, and that's why the people are reacting in the industry that she's she's using are still stuck and scared to step out and say no. you know
Well, the
aren't
smarter
they?
people get, the less power she will have, right? The smarter people get, the more enlightened people
Yeah.
get, the more information, the more we share,
Yeah.
the less effect that they will have, because people will be much more discerning, and they'll be able to say, wait a minute, that doesn't
Mhm.
sit right, or that sounds like I need to check into that a little bit more, and do my own research. Like you say, do your own research. Don't just blindly, like I always, when I picture Megan, I always think of the Pied Piper, because I think she just leads people down that cliff. Poop, they all fall over. We need to be a little bit more awake than that.
And I also just want to clarify something. I have never claimed to be an expert on anything. I am not an expert. I'm not a royal expert on anything, but I do read. And the reason why I started my channel was because I said, wait a minute, is that really true? And then you go and investigate and you research. Because I used to follow certain YouTubers, and I would blindly follow them, but until they started saying things that are like, I worked as a
Mm.
diplomat. I know those things are false. What you just said was a big lie. And then I was like, no, no, I can't, because people listen to these people and they're like, no, you can't even. And that's why I started. And I started
Mm.
questioning things because I know how certain things work. And at least in that world, unless of course they've changed, but the Vienna Convention on diplomats, and in my experience, nobody can take that away from me. And I can tell you from experience in dealing with royalty directly, granted, not the British royal family, but royalty
Mhm.
nonetheless from European households, I can tell you the procedures are pretty much standard you know and as a diplomat, I can tell you what things happen, what the government does. I can tell you what the press does to manipulate stories, because it's happened to me. I can tell you that. I mean, how they're able to
Mm.
erase things, like they've erased
Mm.
things from Meghan Markle, and it's like, you feel like a losing battle. So for me, it's incredible that somebody like George the Giant Slayer with this. I mean, if Netflix put this on Netflix, he would get he would be top 10 for weeks, guys. I can tell you that with him, and just him with a microphone
Yeah.
in black and white. I mean, everybody
But
would turn into
but
click.
Netflix would never. But Netflix would never put that on. There'd be too
Not
much.
now.
Ooh, no,
Yeah,
you
not
know,
now.
not now. In a
Now's the
couple of
wrong
years from
timing.
now,
Yeah.
I feel like that's it's wrong timing. In a couple of years, once this is the people and what the people want and expect, once that grows more, George will be allowed. You know,
More
the censorship
meritocracy,
is
then they'll allow it, right?
yeah,
If it's a merit-based
It is,
system,
but
George,
did you
look,
know
you're
what?
so smart.
It's up to us, but it's up to us. You know, all you have to do is
Absolutely.
basically don't get off of Netflix. I know, and there's so many ways that you can watch what's on Netflix nowadays, guys, that you don't have to sign up to them. And I don't know if I should release it because I don't want to be sued, but trust me, there's lots of ways you can watch what's on Netflix without being subscribed to Netflix, you know? And when you affect their
yeah.
pockets, right now they're in a power trip. They're even charging more for people because they're producing shit shows like Rachel Meghan Markle. They're indulging these people. Okay. And it is insane. It is insane. So you are the buyer, you are the consumer. So, you know, I can put a
Mm-hmm.
link. Why not? I'm gonna ask Ron to give me the link, you know, from Sean Atwood because he's not on Netflix and he watches everything there. So I'm gonna maybe ask him to give me the link so I can put it so you guys can too. You know, so you don't have to. I mean, you have Paramount, you have other things, but for me, Netflix, no, no, nothing
No.
happened to George. I'm urging
And the
people
thing
to
is,
go
for
watch
me, I
George thing. That's what I'm urging you to go watch this on George.
It's nice the way you put it
I
together.
never watched the Netflix show from Megan. I just figured
No.
I figured there's going to be plenty of clips out there for me to just catch a snippet. I won't be listening to the podcast. I can't listen to her voice. I can't listen to the hypocrisy anyway. It just, I just avoid stuff that makes me feel a kind of way. And yeah, no.
Well, it's gonna be very interesting to see if she uses her wedding designer dress because she's gonna be one of her guests, from what I understand. To
You
clap
know,
back about who made who cry because she's
yeah.
still not happy that nobody believes that Catherine made her cry.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and there's little digs as well, aren't there? There is with the, you know, in the fact that her children call the makeup artist uncle, and that's, you know, I've got godparents and uncle, the kids, but then my children have got healthy relationships with their actual aunties and uncles, and it's a really sad thing to know that they're calling the makeup artist uncle, and you've got uncles and aunties there, which they're not
And she doesn't
accepting.
even know the uncle. She doesn't even know the
And they
uncle
don't
because
even
the
know,
uncle
and
wasn't there.
it's and actually with her, we've just watched her literally go to Nigeria and do all the culture. And why didn't she have a Nigerian come in and do Nigerian food? What is that moment gone? Is that lost on us? Like, we've just watched you literally be reincarnated as 43% Nigerian, and you do a show where you've got none of that now. That's done. She's moved on.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
saddest thing is, there are loads of people. There are loads of people that look up to her that are biracial, and she's used them, in my opinion. She's used that and used them, and we're seeing a lot of that now. People talking out from different communities in which she's used, dipped into, basked in, and now it's gone, done. Bit like her
And
dad.
And not only that, I mean, I've talked about it before. Why didn't she? I mean, we know where she got the 43% Nigerian guys. She got it from Georgina Lawton, who in 2020 found out that she was 43% Nigerian, and she found out she was Nigerian and Nicaraguan when she was here in Nicaragua on Corn Island. You know, so people, and then she copied it, and the mainstream media to this day have not called her out and to question that she was given. She went to Malta. Have we forgotten how she said that she went to Malta?
Yeah, wasn't her grandmother Maltese or something? Some
No,
story like that.
no, it was on her parent, her great grandmother. Like
Great.
any British people, they were stationed in India, and then they were looking for a better way of life. So they were briefly in Malta. And while they were in Malta, but they're white, Scottish, Irish, German. While they were in Malta, one of the kids was born there. But then the whole family went to Canada. And then from Canada, they went to, I think, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, Pennsylvania. And from Pennsylvania, they went to, like they moved around basically. But it's not like her family that was wrong when she said, "Oh God, I belong because everybody looked like me." That looked like me after she operated her nose and straightened her hair, and but because she was saying, "Oh, my family's from Malta." No, it's not. It's not. She was referring to her black side of the family. I mean, her family in Georgia are there, the Raglands. Why doesn't she go there?
Yeah. And where are the Raglands? Where are the Raglands? Where's the niece? Where's the niece she rolled out onto
Marcus
Netflix?
Anderson. Marcus Anderson. I
That
thought
was
she
a
was going to
jibe at her
start.
sister. Like she just.
I thought she was going to start with Marcus Anderson, to tell you the truth.
Pardon?
I thought she
He's
was going
probably
to start
hiding.
with Marcus Anderson.
Yeah, he's probably keeping a low profile. Maybe he doesn't want to be high profile.
Or she was going to start with that Samantha girl, the woman that is the director of Soho House, the one that she went to the baby shower, and Blake Lively was there.
Maybe that's season 2.
Maybe I'm sure Serena Williams will be in season 2. I'm sure Oprah Winfrey, and that
Whoever was hanging around those days, that's all season. I'm sure they just took a lot of content and they're just chopping it up and they're going to try to maximize this souffle or this buffet.
Do you know that to this day, Tyler
I never
Perry?
watched.
No, sorry, I just want to say this quickly. Tyler Perry to this day does not follow Rachel Meghan Markle on either Instagram, but he follows Diddy. And he's the godfather of Lily.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't he give them the freedom flight? Wasn't that the one to save them and pull them out of the hellish family that they were in? Wasn't that Tyler Perry that lent them the jet to do the freedom flight? Yet he doesn't even follow her.
It's disgusting. But anyways, we're going to get going because it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes. I apologize. I took so much of your time, guys. But we'll see you next Sunday, beautiful people. And whatever you do, don't take the bath salts. And if you do, record yourself doing it. And then if you get any side effects, just sue Netflix. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. So have a great day. Thank you, Manuela. I will leave all the links. I will leave all the links.
You can imagine it now.
What? Say it. You should do it too, Tina. That way we become rich. Suing Netflix, Meghan, and everybody.
If anybody has skincare questions, feel free to ask me or Paula. But I'll do my best to answer their questions. And please be careful. All jokes aside, skincare is.
No, and also it's dangerous, so I will leave all the links, guys. And I'm going to put all the links in the video description, so you have to read, so you can go and check everything out. Okay, guys? Thank you for joining me. I can't believe there's so many of us here. And have a great day. And subscribe to Tina, to George the Giant Slayer. Go watch that. And then when we do the next live on Saturday and Sunday, you're going to go, damn. So thank you very much, guys, and have a wonderful, wonderful. Today's Sunday, right?
Thank you, everyone.
Sunday. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. 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 Bye, Manuela. Bye, Paula. Bye, everyone. Bye.